Commissioner Sanchez, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you.
Ready to begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Sosa, can I please have roll call?
Yes. Chair Sherrick,
Yes, present.
Vice Chair Quell,
Present.
Commissioner Daly,
Here.
Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia,
Present.
Commissioner Galande,
Present.
Commissioner Pratt,
I believe you had an
Absent.
excused absence.
Commissioner Carloni, absent, Commissioner Orlando Garcia, absent as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A 3-minute time limitation shall apply to each member of the public who wishes to address the Planning Commission on any item on the agenda, excluding the public hearings. There is not a limit to the number of items that may be discussed within the 3-minute time limit. Ms. Sosa, can you have the administration of oath for our public speakers? Can you deliver that, please?
Of course. For anybody who is speaking, can you please stand up? I do have one speaker slip. Do we have another one?
Just for public comment or for all items?
For all items.
I'll be filling it out.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you are about to give before this body will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
If so, please say I do. You did. Thank you. You can go ahead and sit down.
Is there anyone present who wishes to speak on a matter not on the agenda? Thank you. I'll go ahead and take our first speaker. Thank you, Gabby. Oh, this is for item number 6. I'll go ahead and wait for item number 6 when we get there. Thank you. Sir, do you have an item? Is it an item on the agenda?
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Number 4.
Okay, thank you. When we get to item number 4, we'll go ahead and call you up. Next item on the consent agenda. Next item on the consent agenda is consent items, which are routine in nature and may be enacted in one motion. All public and non-public hearings will be open at one time. Any item may be discussed separately upon the request of a member of the Planning Commission or member of the public. Does staff have any updates to the consent calendar?
None, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to speak on the consent calendar items?
Yes, I'd like to pull item 1.
Thank you, Co-Chair Quo. Go ahead.
Yes, I would like to comment about our minutes. I know that the minutes are put together based upon the items that we speak about, but I think the minutes need to be a little more thorough. We leave these meetings many times being told by staff, or perhaps Mr. Elliott, or other things we discuss, and we talk about bringing things back at the next meeting. Well, we get to the next meeting, and we don't always receive that, or we overlook it. So I think that included in the minutes should be perhaps down at the bottom of them, a list of items perhaps we've discussed and items we intend to bring back at the next meeting. I think that the minutes are vague, and I think that that would help us prepare better for the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Quill. I think that is something we can include in the minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comments on the consent calendar? Any other commissioners? No? Is there a motion to approve consent calendar items 1 and 2?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can I please have roll?
Yes. Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
Yes.
Vice Chair Quayle?
Yes.
Chair Sherrick?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Planning Commission will first hear a report from staff, and then the next public hearing will be opened. The applicant will have an opportunity to speak. Next, members of the public will be allowed to speak. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak must be sworn in and fill out a request to speak form. The forms are located on the table next to the door. When your name is called, come forward and speak your name into the microphone. Say and spell your name for the taped record. After all have spoken, the applicant will be allowed to respond. The public hearing will then be closed, and Planning Commission will begin deliberations and make a decision. All decisions except general plan amendments and municipal code amendments are final actions unless an appeal is filed. All fees paid within 15 days to the Community Development Department, Community Development and Housing Department. If you challenge the resulting action of the Planning Commission in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised in the public hearing described in this agenda or in written correspondence delivered to the Community Development and Housing Department or before the public hearing. I'll go ahead and introduce item number 3 with a staff presentation at 6:10. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners, and members of the public. My name is Angeline Mendoza, and I will be presenting item 3, Conditional Use Permit 25-16. Conditional Use Permit 25-16 is a request to modify the previously approved Conditional Use Permit 20-17 and subsequently Extension of Time 25-03. These two approvals were for the request to operate a 16,085 square foot assembly facility for religious purposes at 1316 West 13th Street on a parcel zoned commercial general, CG1, which is approximately 3.80 acres in size. This is the surrounding properties of the subject property for the religious assembly. You see primarily commercially zoned parcels and residentially zoned parcels that abut the parcel itself. An aerial map shows you a bit more current site conditions and contextualizes the residential and commercially zoned parcels that were previously mentioned. As a bit of background, so as previously mentioned, this activity was born out of two other activities. Initially, in April of 2023, the Planning Commission initially heard the initial conditional use permit 20-17 for the approval. Earlier this year, the applicants reached out and applied for an extension of time for the construction and to start construction. And so that brings us to our request here with conditional use permit 25-16, which is a modification of these two conditions of approval that move forward. As a bit of analysis of the project itself to refamiliarize the public, staff, and commissioners with this project. Again, it's a 16,085 square foot development with associated improvements on 3 acres of the site itself. It's a pretty big site, and it would operate 4 religious assemblies, mainly on Sunday and occasionally throughout the week. Namely, for this modification to the original approvals, conditions of approval from the Department of Public Works Land Development Division were not included as part of the original COAs approved under Resolution Number 2023-013 and subsequently Resolution Number 2025-029 for that EOT, or extension of time. So the request that we have today to modify these two existing previously approved resolutions is to amend the conditions of approval so that it includes conditions from all applicable reviewing bodies from the city of San Bernardino. Staff would also like to emphasize that the intent of this item is not to review or change the project. The scope hasn't changed. However, modifications to the actual COAs are considered a modification to the CUP, so that's what's brought us to this activity today. As such, staff has, brought this item today for consideration to the commissioners. As a brief run through, this is the existing site now, along 13th Street. This was the previously approved site plan. Again, no modifications to the parking or the scope of work are being made. The floor plan for the religious assembly itself, again, 16,085 square foot. The proposed landscaping and site improvements to the parcel itself, which is currently vacant. And some 3 elevations to get a sense of what the church is going to look like. So that brings us today, where staff is recommending that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-046, finding the project exempt pursuant to the general rule of the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving conditional use permit 25-16 to modify previously approved conditional use permit 20-17 and subsequent extension of time 25-03, subject to the recommended conditions of approval. Myself, staff, and the applicant team are here for any questions you have. To staff's knowledge, up to the time of speaking, we have not received any public comment.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:15. Did the applicant want to speak? Seeing no one coming forward, I'm going to go ahead and say no. I have no public comments on this item. Do I have a motion, or would staff like to discuss? Or not staff, I'm sorry, commission.
I just had a very simple question, and I'm happy to make a motion as well. So if I'm understanding this correctly, this is being brought back to us because some conditions from the Public Works Department weren't included in the initial approval?
Yes.
And then is there anything that we should be aware of within the Public Works conditions that are out of the ordinary, or anything that we should be aware of?
Standard boilerplate for ground-up developments. One of the main things that I would like to highlight is that they have been moving forward through the plan check process with building, and they did start the plan check process downstairs with land development, and that's how, all this came to light, and so we're just here to rectify that.
Got it. Okay, thank you. I'm good. Happy to make a motion if that's appropriate.
Any other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I would like to move staff's recommendation.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Just want to confirm, did you open and close the public hearing?
I opened the public hearing. I have not closed it.
Okay, so just,
Thank you.
yeah, for the record.
Thank you for the record. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:18. And then can we get roll, please?
Commissioner Daly,
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia,
Yes.
Vice Chair Quell,
Yes.
Chair Sherrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Galande.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open item number 4 and have a presentation by staff.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just as a matter of process, could we just, every time we take a vote, can you read out the results of the vote, please? So go ahead and do
Oh.
that now. In other words, it's approved or denied, and then the vote tally.
Thank you. For item number 3, it was approved.
And the vote tally?
We have 6 out of 6.
Okay, so 6-0.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4.
It's me again.
Thank
With
you.
item number 4, conditional use permit 24-27. Item number 4 brings staff's recommendation for denial for a request for the development, establishment, and operation of a car wash that proposes a 3,400 square foot wash bay. The parcel itself is located along the southwest corner of West Baseline Street and H Street on a parcel totaling approximately 0.9 acres and is currently zoned commercial general CG1 and was a recent acquirement of the city from Caltrans. This is a zoning map. As you can see, there's a primarily residential use around the parcel itself. smattering of commercially zoned parcels, and to the north, smaller smattering of industrially zoned parcels. We see that in context a little bit better here, where you see the residentials mainly to the south of the parcel itself, with Orange Street, H Street, and Baseline hugging the parcel itself. One thing I would like to note is that there is a very big prolongation along the frontage of West Baseline Street that the property line does not reach out to. These are current site conditions that were confirmed earlier last week along H Street. And this is the view along Orange Street itself. So we're going to sit at the site plan for a hot minute. So here we see the wash bay along the right side of the parcel. It's totaling approximately 3,400 square feet. We have 2 points of access of ingress and egress, both along Orange Street. One thing staff would like to know, and which has carried staff's recommendation for denial today of this request for a car wash, are the single-family homes directly south across the street on Orange Street. The 2 points of access here are in width 24 and 26 respectively, approximately 70 feet apart. With this proposal, the entirety of traffic for the proposed car wash is funneled exclusively through Orange Street. We see here that it is currently a cul-de-sac. It's not shown on the site plan, but there are those 4 single-family homes south of the site. 3 of these homes only have access through Orange Street, with the corner single-family residence facing H Street having a driveway along that main street. Although the project's noise impact study, which the applicant did provide, exhibits a decibel range that falls within the threshold contained in our general plan, which is a maximum or ceiling of 65 decibels, stationary noise impacts from on-site sources, the vacuums, the dryers from the wash bay itself, would combine with the traffic of the noise generated from the trips to and from the parcel itself, which is funneled exclusively through Orange Street. Notably, traffic did not require a VMT analysis or a TIA, a full traffic impact analysis, but because of its proximity to Caltrans, the applicant did do their due diligence, went the extra step, and did provide those materials for us for Caltrans review. That is to say, Caltrans had no further comment about the nature of the project either way. And so with this, staff did not find the finding, or found the finding in the negative, that the project would be harmonious or compatible with the surrounding uses due to the exclusive access along Orange Street, which again is with those residences. To avoid impact to these residents along Orange Street, staff and the applicant team were discussing this in terms of how we can possibly move forward with any redesign of the site, with any alternative points of access. However, there were 2 main issues that we ran into and what ultimately led to staff's recommendation for denial. First and foremost, we did contact the city's engineering division, who did propose 2 possible points of access along H Street, so it wouldn't exclusively be through Orange Street. That included a striping study, a pork chop possibly, but it would require the relocation of the wash bay itself. In considering redesigns of the site itself, there is an easement that runs along the north side of the property that ultimately restricted the redesign of the parcel and the scope of work. And due to these 2 reasons, the applicant team, were informed that staff wouldn't be able to recommend support of the project. They were in receipt of this and decided ultimately to still go forward with this current configuration and programming that you see in front of you. In terms of situating the site and the proposed scope of work, the top elevation is the view that you would see along H Street. The bottom left is the view from Orange Street, which is where those residences are. And then the bottom right is the view across the prolongation along Baseline Street. Here are some additional elevations to really visualize the project itself. But ultimately, staff does recommend that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-047, denying conditional use permit 24-27, and not allowing the establishment, development, and operation of a car wash.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 6:25. Is the applicant here and would like to speak? Can you please come to the microphone and state your name? I don't have your speakers. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Are you Daniel?
Yes, I'm Daniel.
Okay. Daniel Friedman?
Daniel Friedman.
Friedman.
And, my colleague Pat Sweetser will speak here.
Okay, please turn your microphone on.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
First off, I want to say good evening, commissioners. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your public service. I want to thank planning staff for giving what I think was a hard presentation. My name is Daniel Friedman. I represent Superstar Car Wash here on this application, and I want to give you a little bit of context as to why you're being presented with, I think, a somewhat of an unusual staff report. We submitted a pre-application. If you're familiar, a pre-application is a, hey, we're thinking about this site, we have an idea, we're gonna submit it to the city and get feedback before we dive all in and incur all the expenses involved with an actual project application. And we submitted that in early 2024. We received pre-application comments back in August of 2024. There were no issues raised about access on Orange. There was actually, I should change that. There was a comment about the configuration of that, the driveway, which was addressed and fixed on the following submittal. But no comments that accessing the site from Orange Street was in any way inappropriate. We then followed up in December of 2024, or maybe November, I forget the exact month, which is why this application has a 2024 title on it, and we submitted the full application. And we processed that application all the way through the point and got all the sign-offs, got everyone to review, everyone signed off until we were asking for when are we gonna be heard. And then when we were ready to be heard, then we were told we have a problem. So that's about a year and a half of working with the city on this application. So we sat down, say, well, what can we do to make this work? And the response was, you need to reconfigure your whole site. Well, and the problem is that we just spent a year and a half perfecting that configuration. Also, the other problem was, in my mind, I have a lot of respect for staff, but in my mind, they had an idea that they wanted to have done here. They wanted this tunnel to be on the north, and they figured, let's move this to the north, and we don't have a problem. We couldn't move it to the north. There's a giant easement there. You can't build structures there. There's a reason why it's configured that way. We also can't shorten the tunnel because it's going to reduce the quality of the actual product. And if we're not putting out a good product, there's no point of doing this. So I said to staff, I said, look, if your concern is these residential uses, and for background, there's this commentary that runs through the whole staff report that this is a residential street. I grant that there are residences on one side of the street. It's immediately adjacent to the freeway. The site, this used to be a freeway on-ramp, which is why I submitted that image. I wanted you to get a sense of what was there, because this hasn't always been a vacant site. This was previously a storage unit, and what faced these residences was a giant block wall. And we said, we're proposing a modern building, security, beautiful landscaping. What do you want? We have the best access to technologies to reduce sound impacts. We can do beautiful landscaping, we can do sound walls, anything you want. We've been doing this for a year and a half. We can't incur any more delay or costs. I was called by senior staff and they asked, what are you proposing? I said, look, we'll do sound mitigation walls. We can show you models. where we put higher noise attenuation technologies into this, it will not be louder than the current noise. It is immediately adjacent to a freeway. I was there today. I'm sure you know the area. It is loud already. You still have baseline noise on top of freeway noise. And I just never heard back. What you see before you is a staff report that didn't ask you to decide this case. And this is my objection to this. It told you how to decide this case. And I don't think that's fair to an applicant who spent almost 2 years on this, working with the city before this became an issue. In my mind, I think you should act to approve the project. Of course, that's your decision. Why do I think this project should be approved? Well, one, this is a problem site for a few reasons. First off, it doesn't have baseline frontage. Second off, it's a commercially zoned site. It's commercial. So it's going to be a commercial use. Third, you can't get up, not only can you not get access from H Street, you don't want access from H Street. When they use the site as part of the freeway baseline renovation project, they shrunk it. I'll only need 2 more
I just
minutes.
don't, I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you,
No.
but do we have a timer on the applicant?
No, but there should not be.
Okay,
The
thank you.
applicant doesn't have a time restriction.
Thank you. Please continue.
I'll filibuster till tomorrow, and maybe I'll get the approval.
As long as you bring water.
They shrunk the site, and if you're familiar with that stretch of baseline, the last thing you want are people making left turns out, and the last thing you want also are cars slowing down to make right turns in. You know, when you're in the business of building car washes, one thing I can assure you is that there is a ton of thought put into access. That is almost one of the most, beyond the issue of having a quality product, a good wash, and an easy process. The next most important thing is making sure people can get in and out. And my client, the team, put a lot of thought into it, and we think it works. What was presented to you in the staff report was really just a decision that staff decided to make, because I don't know what to say other than I think they were mad at us for not being able to fix it to the way they wanted it. But some of these findings were not real. We're not actually presenting a balanced analysis of what was proposed. And I say that because, you know, even things like the proposed use, the finding number 2, the proposed use is consistent with the general plan. Of course, building a commercial use on a commercial zoned lot is consistent with the general plan. The issue of whether the use is permitted under the land use district, of course it's permitted as a CUP. There's no conflict over that, but then it says, no, it'll conflict with the adjacent residential uses, and so therefore it's not, but that's not true. I'll conclude with this. I'd ask this body to approve it. We think it works. It's going to improve the area dramatically. The main concern is noise impacts. That's what, as a company that does car washes, we know that's the major concern. If that's really the honest concern, condition us. We have no objection to complying with noise ordinances. We have no objection to putting in sound walls. We have no objection to putting in landscaping. And we have no objection to making it a beautiful site that people would much rather look at than a site that has been vacant for almost 20 years now. With that, I'm here to answer any questions you may have. We hope you give this your due consideration. My client and the Superstar Car Wash representatives are also here to talk about, if you want to talk about the process, the product, the design, anything you want, we're here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Patrick, did you want to speak also?
Good evening. Again, thank you all for spending the time reviewing our case. My name is Patrick Sweetser. I'm the Director of Real Estate with Superstar Car Wash. To Daniel's point, And I'll give you sort of a macro view of who we are and what we do. We're an express tunnel car wash concept. We've got 116 units and growing by the tune of 15 to 20 per year throughout the Southwest and Southern California. We're good neighbors. As you can imagine, most of the locations that we go in might have some aspect of residential adjacency. So to Daniel's point, we're very conscientious of our sound. We put up barriers, we do impact studies, we have landscape, we do whatever we can to help mitigate that and be a good neighbor. In addition to that, we're environmentally conscious. We actually use less water on a car wash than you would use at home, washing your own. It's environmentally sustainable with our chemicals. We do reuse and reclaim water, so that helps with our process as well. We're also, community involved, right? So we give back to the community through Boys and Girls Clubs, through sports teams, through local charities, et cetera, because we like to promote our brand within sort of the soccer mom community throughout business, Chamber of Commerce, et cetera. So we feel like we're a good partner with municipalities in that way too. So to Daniel's point, we've done what we can to help integrate a site plan that's inclusive of the neighboring uses. And again, we're a good neighbor, and we'd love to see your approval on this.
Thank you. I have no further speaker cards. Thank you.
Thanks.
Does the commission have any questions for staff or the applicant?
I have a question of the applicant.
Do you have questions?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I have one question about your hours of operation. What are the hours of operation?
It's seasonal, but generally speaking, it's 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we can amend that based on, time of, or sunlight during the day, et cetera. And in order to, appease neighbors, we have been able to close at 6:30 throughout the week.
No, I think that sounds pretty good. I've seen some car washes that are open till 10, 11 o'clock at night.
That's
but,
not what we do, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners have questions?
I had a question for the
Commissioner
applicant.
Garcia.
I'm in the business of construction. I know what it takes to do the design, a lot of time and effort, money, a lot of consultants. I know the time it takes. My only question is, or for staff and the applicant, are they required to reach out to the neighbors and notify them that this project is underway or was submitted to the city?
So as part of our general notification process for any item being heard at a public hearing, any resident or occupant or owner within 1,000 feet of the parcel itself from all corners are notified. They are sent a mailer containing the details of the project and what is being heard today. In that, staff did recognize that there were those residences during the last few months in that review and encouraged the applicant to reach out to them. So far, we haven't heard anything from the mailers. Up to the time of speaking, no public comment was received.
Did the applicant reach out to the residents?
So we did not. And the reason we did not is because we were told this was going to be denied. And so we didn't feel, when you're told we're denying you because your access doesn't work, but go ahead and reach out to the community and spend more money. It's kind of a weird request. I would understand, normally you're saying, hey, we're preparing for a hearing, make sure you reach out. That's not what happened here. And so we just it didn't feel right, to be honest, to spend more time and resources until we had an understanding of what was actually going to happen.
Can staff speak to why this issue wasn't raised with the applicant previously?
So going through the case history itself, like the applicant mentioned, there was a pre-application and then the full review of all the materials during the full submittal of the conditional use permit. It met the development standards between the setbacks, landscaping, all the things that we generally check off. It wasn't until the easement itself became a key part of the issue and what ultimately led to the denial of the project. The staff's recommendation for denial was ultimately made with the guidance of senior staff.
With engineering or with planning?
Engineering and traffic were involved in terms of working with the applicant and seeing, how we can make this project work. Ultimately, it was planning's recommendation.
Madam Chair, if I may just chime in. The presenter did identify the property being commercially zoned, and that's true. The use on the site before, it's a vacant site, it's underutilized, and it would be nice to have something developed on there. But just because it's vacant and underutilized doesn't mean that a car wash or any other particular type of commercial use is the most appropriate use for that location. When it was a storage facility, baseline had not been widened and improved because you could have access from baseline to the property or H Street. The configuration that we have here is access to this car wash is going to come through that one cul-de-sac, which is shared with the residents across the street. Now, I did ask Angeline if she had a picture of those homes taking from the project site, looking at them. I think that would have provided you with a perspective. All things being equal, we could have reached out earlier and said reconfigure, but I think they have a plan, and the plan fits. If it's oriented in one particular way, when we kind of tweak things around a bit, it becomes a little bit more complicated. The difference between a storage facility and a car wash is like night and day. Our storage facility, not as busy, not a lot of ins and outs, and and I think if the residents had to vote for which one do you prefer, of course it will be a storage facility. So we have this use. And I've seen what some of the car washes in town look like, stacking of vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, just to protect the integrity of that use, that shared use between, we're not talking about adjacent or side by side. That's different. This is right across the street on a cul-de-sac. I wasn't sure if that is what land use we had in mind when we said that property is zoned commercial. In fact, we've entertained what are some of the other land uses. Maybe a residential project might even be better because it's more compatible, which, but so we actually did think very, very deeply about this, not because we want to discourage this particular use, we just couldn't find whether or not, if we came in front of you and you said, planning commission, here we go approve this, I'm pretty sure you'll come back and look at us and say, well, what are you talking about? So I don't know, but that was a mindset, is that we're using a cul-de-sac, which is already overloaded from what I see, because those people are already parking across the street. Yes, the site needs to be improved by something, but I'm just not sure if this car wash, I've seen car washes, Commissioner Quill said that closed at 10. I've seen car washes that start at 7 in the morning. So where are we going to go with this?
Yeah.
That's why we made a recommendation that we made.
Yeah, just to kind of add on to that, I was looking at the site here, and it looks like you had mentioned that there's only 4 homes, but one of them looks like a multifamily use. So it looks like it's an apartment complex of some sort. So there's cars that are kind of stacked up, like you mentioned, Mr. Elliott, here in that cul-de-sac. They're using that for their parking. Just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or questions by commissioners?
I just want to make additional.
Commissioner Sanchez had her hand up. Sanchez or Lopez? Oh, Lopez, excuse me.
Where's the entrance to your car wash? Is it before you get to Orange Street, or do you use that cul-de-sac?
Oh. It's on the.
Where's the entrance? Is it before you get to Orange Street, or do you use the cul-de-sac?
The site plan is up there. And
Commissioner Lopez.
And it's on Orange Street.
Right there?
And I'd like to, if it's okay, I'd like to address a couple of the statements.
Well, that is where the homes that are there. And I know that area, it's a low-income area. there's some old structures, old home, is that right? Have you seen the site?
It's a
Have you been there?
mix.
Okay,
It's a
it's some
mix,
old
yeah.
structures. And
Some new ones too.
looks like they were built way back.
One was just built, I know that for sure.
But if you're coming from Baseline, and Baseline is very busy, and it has the stop sign, you know, right in the middle of the bridge and whatever. But there are no entrances before you get to Orange Street.
So the problem
It's
is,
only the cul-de-sac.
the only real way to get access for a commercial use is from Orange Street. And the reason for that is because of the way H Street is oriented, and also after they finished the Baseline freeway remodel project, they shrunk the site. And the last thing you want are people, like I said, slowing down traffic on H Street, and engineering would never allow
No,
this.
because there's not that much street
There's
to
not
slow
enough
down.
room. It's not feasible, and that's why I just want to push back. First off, this company knows how to keep queuing off the street. This was designed specifically to keep queuing off the street. And because of the way it's a membership system, cars go in and they get out quickly. So I believe we did a queuing study, and if you wanted to approve it, conditioning it on a queuing study, we can do that, because there is not going to be queuing on Orange Street. In terms of this idea that Orange Street is reserved for residential uses, well, it's not reserved for residential uses. It was previously an on-ramp.
It's just the Orange Street on the side where the cul-de-sac. I don't think the residents on the Orange Street on the other side are going to say much about that, because everybody knows it is a commercial zone, as you said, it is a commercial zone. But they were expecting that the entrance would be in the front of Baseline, but it's impossible because of the bridge coming down and so forth. So now you're forced to use the cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac, as I know it, is fairly wide. Those houses are probably rented. You know, I don't think the people who live there own those houses, that they're rented. And on your most busiest days, is there going to be a traffic line outside of the cul-de-sac waiting to get in?
No, basically.
Or do you have enough space?
Yeah. Basically,
inside?
what we do is you can see there's a 3-car stacking lane. We don't do any cash transaction. It's either membership, which is about 80% of our business. So you're already prepaid, and it scans in your license plate, and you're into the tunnel. So there's very little delay. It's not like going to a fast food restaurant where you place your order and then they make your food. The car wash is ready to roll cars as soon as they get into the line. So as you probably know, when you go and do your card against a reader, it happens in seconds. And then the gate goes up and they're running through the tunnel. So if it were ever to be a peak time where there was an issue, we've got mitigation factors with our employees where we'll actually hand out free car washes if they come back at another time. So we'll remove any kind of issues if it were to happen. Now, what you're seeing there now is you've got 12 cars stacking right there. We've got an ability to do probably 15 cars before we run into any issues. And quite frankly, during our peak hours,
So there
it
won't
just
be
doesn't
any
happen.
cars out on
Won't
the
happen.
cul-de-sac
Yeah.
that would disrupt the neighborhood
We
and so
wouldn't
forth?
allow it.
And the neighborhood that you're talking about is just that part where the cul-de-sac is. And I think there's 3 or 4
Yeah.
old houses. One's a 2-story or a 3-story, and I think they rent rooms. So it's not, if they didn't respond to your notices, that's because they're renters, they're not owners.
Yeah, we're happy to do outreach, but to Daniel's point, we felt like we needed some resolution here before we continue to spend money. While we respect all the commentary that's come to us at this point, had the neighborhood issues been addressed in December, we could have dealt with it then, but instead we continued to spend money on environmental studies, attorney fees, other fees, right? Only to get here to October now and have this brought to our attention. So,
And I would add that this wasn't presented as a residential issue, neighborhood impact issue. This was presented as you can't have commercial traffic on a residential street. And so it was almost like an engineering issue, but it wasn't an engineering issue. And so it wasn't presented like we think
Well,
this is.
like I said, I think the people who lived there all these years, they know that is a commercial zone. And they expected your entrance to be off a baseline, and that it wouldn't disrupt. The only neighborhood I see is the street that is across directly from you where the cul-de-sac is. I don't think the residents on the other half of the street of Orange Street are going to be affected. And the cul-de-sac is wide. There's a little bit concerned as you're coming around Baseline, oh, look, there's a car wash, okay, shh. And immediately the street shortens to go through the rest of the neighborhood, as I've gone through that street many times. And the cars there, you know, will have to be slowed down and then turn into the cul-de-sac. And when the light's green, people are waiting to go, just go. So I don't know. But
Madam Commissioner, if I may,
as long as there are no cars waiting to get in, that cul-de-sac is fairly wide. So I don't know. I'm thinking it would be all right.
Sorry, I wanted to add on, although I appreciate city staff's recommendation, I support this project. I drive by this location every day. We actually did cleanup about 2-3 years ago, and this was like a dump fill. I also wanted to comment on the accessibility. I think it was very thought out, seems safe. I know H Street's very busy. Sometimes vehicles speed along that street. And it looks like some of the residential homes that are nearby also looks like one of the multifamily units, if it's a multifamily, has plenty of parking spaces behind the unit. And most of these houses have driveways, so I support this project.
Co-Chair Quill.
Yes, I concur with my fellow commissioner. I see the effort you went through to try and reconfigure all this and make it work. And I think you've come up with, it looks like about the only way you can do it with, as long as your tunnel is here. The only thing I would say is some conditions as far as landscaping on the south side in that cul-de-sac. We don't want so much landscaping that allows for people to camp in there, but we definitely want to have a little bit of a sound barrier. And I don't really think these machines make that much sound. I visit some other car washes that are similar, and we have one in the city here that's right next to a neighborhood up on 40th Street. And I don't know of any of the neighbors that have complained up there. And in fact, they appreciate it. I think they take their cars around in their boats or whatever they do.
Just take it across the street.
Yeah. But anyways, I think you guys really put a lot of effort into this, and I appreciate that. And I too would support that. Thank you.
And I just have a question. If you could talk about your noise canceling technology that you briefly touched upon.
Yeah, there's 3 different ways that we can do it. One is there's advanced technology on the actual blowers that are at the end of the tunnel, where it filters the sound interior to the building instead of exterior, the way they're mounted. We also have sound walls that are above or below the height of the blowers on the top and sides as well. So that's one way. We also put in sound walls on the south where you can see where there's green on the tunnel upon where they exit. So we'll put up call it a 3-foot, 4-foot, like half wall. That helps mitigate. And then landscaping. We do shrubs, we do trees, we do, whatever is congruous with what the city will allow. And again, not so much that it would allow for overnight visitors.
And then do you also place signs, like I know sometimes when cars are drying, individuals are drying their cars, their music is playing in the parking lot.
Yep.
And so that could sometimes be a hindrance to the neighbors
Yep.
who live there. So do you put signs in the parking lot? How do you
So-
mitigate that?
Yeah, we do signs. We have 3 employees on site at any time. All we can do is encourage them to turn it down.
Right.
So that's the best we can do, but usually with a little encouragement, we haven't seen much opposition to that.
Okay. Thank you. If there's no other comments from yes, Commissioner Lopez.
You probably answered this already, but there is going to be some kind of landscaping between your houses as the residents and your business, so that at least they're not seeing the operation or whatever, but they know that you're coming there and so forth.
Yeah, we'll put as much as we are allowed, because really our visibility is from freeway, from Baseline, and then the top corner of H Street. They're gonna know it's a car wash at that point. by the time they come around, landscaping for a lot of retailers can be seen as a negative because it reduces visibility, but we would go intensive landscape on the south
Okay,
side of
well,
the.
that's understandable, but something attractive so that they
Yep.
can see that this is a business that faces the other side, but is apart from
Yes.
them in the cul-de-sac.
And then commissioners, with public hearings still open and commissioners, or the commission's inclination towards support of the project, are there any conditions, the landscaping was received, that we can determine now or start discussing now in anticipation of, furthering this item to a date certain?
Co-chair, did you have time limitations that you discussed?
No, it sounds like they meet within the time limitations, and the landscaping is the only issue I can see that I'd be concerned about.
So staff will definitely work with the applicant team to incorporate that into a new site plan that will be in the materials. Just in terms of other commissioners as well, landscaping for sure. Anything else? All right.
Okay, thank you. If there's no other comments or questions, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 6:55 and entertain a motion.
I just had one
Oh,
comment.
I'll reopen the public hearing.
It's more, forgive the term grammar Nazi, but on several of the plans, you've misspelled the name of our city and failed to include the R, so it's Bernardino. So just a note, maybe get those changed next time you come back so that you spell our city name correctly. With that, I'd be happy to make the motion.
Madam Chair, before a motion is made, is either one of you requesting a wall as part of this noise mitigation, or are you satisfied with the explanation provided by the applicant?
Commissioner Daley, did you? No? Okay, I would like to see just to minimize sound, yes. Thank you.
Just a comment, would it be possible for the applicant to reach out to the neighbors and then come back for approval on this, so we can at least get the feedback from the people that are in the community?
Absolutely. I mean, we always do neighborhood meetings. The only reason why we stopped in this case was the recommendation of denial. We didn't want to put good money after bad, right? So with what we're hearing tonight, we'd absolutely reach out to the neighbors and get some feedback and see, if there's any opposition to it.
So
Madam Chair, for the placement of the wall, because there's already CEQA analysis done on the project as it is, for the placement of the wall, for the location, et cetera, additional CEQA analysis is going to be required. So if you're leaning towards a majority approval, I don't know if it's going to be unanimous or not. If you're leaning towards majority approval, I think we would have to continue this to the next Planning Commission meeting to provide you with the additional CEQA analysis with the wall. You get to see the location, perhaps the design of the wall, to see if it meets your satisfaction.
Is the applicant okay with that?
Yeah, one thing we'd like to bring up is because of the time that we've taken to get to this point, we've got an impatient landlord here. He'll see the results of this meeting, but we're running short on time to kind of get to where we need to be with this. So I would just ask that we be as time conscious moving forward as we can with reviews and such.
I just want to add one thing. I don't see any reason why any additional, with all due respect, why any additional CEQA analysis would be required. We've already done a noise study as it's already designed. This would be a reduction beyond what's already proposed. So I don't see why any further studies would be required. And I wouldn't want that to be a reason for you not to act today, because I see no basis why we'd have to do more analysis on further reductions of a already compliant sound
Okay.
study.
I think our attorney had a response to that.
Yes, does the proposed wall or walls that you would install, will they disturb ground?
In what manner?
Will they disturb ground? Will you have to dig into the ground to put a wall?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's why. because that's different than what's been analyzed. It's the ground disturbance that triggers the additional CEQA analysis.
And if I may, I'd like to get clarification. Why are we requesting a wall? Or where do we want to see a wall?
So I would just like to reduce noise to all residents as much as possible. I've made this known when we did truck yards about them having their engines idling, to be respectful to our neighbors, as respectful as possible when putting in a facility that does cause noise, making that the best possible option for the residents.
And I'm just asking because I know we have trees minimize noise.
Yeah.
And on the cul-de-sac, it is a radius. It's going to be a challenge to, in my opinion, to install. I'm not, if I'm understanding, I think we want to see a wall in orange, or where do we want to see a wall?
Yes, on orange and baseline.
What about a hedge?
I'm okay with a hedge.
Yeah, I mean, sorry to just jump in like this, but to me, I live around a bunch of walls, and I live around a bunch of walls that have graffiti on them. And I've yet to see graffiti on hedges or bushes or plants. First time for everything. So I'd be more inclined to see something that's not a brick wall that gets erected, just because that is what's going to invite graffiti,
Sure. Yeah,
100%. you know?
absolutely.
So that would be my preference, 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And sorry, I just wanted to mention, the structure of the building is very appealing. It's all CMU, has the 4 different colors. So I think if we put a block wall, it's going to take away the beautiful structure that they design, in my opinion.
Okay. So are you guys okay with a hedge? Okay, and then you had additional comments, right?
No,
The neighborhood?
I was
how-
just going to say, it's sitting right next to the freeway, so the sound, more than likely, is probably going to be less than what they're hearing currently.
That's what this,
That's
what the
my
noise
thought.
studies show.
Yeah. My only thing that I would like is just to have the reviews from the neighborhood. That's it. added
And
in.
what radius is that? Like
So-
which neighbor, the normal radius that we
1,000
use to reach out?
I think she said 1,000 feet.
It's 1,000 feet, and
Okay.
we notify not only property owners, but also tenants.
And they have already been notified, correct?
Yes, through
Yeah.
the noticing of this hearing was properly
Right.
notified of all occupants, not just owners. And so with that and the note that this item was properly noticed in anticipation of the hearing, for staff's clarification, that in terms of the commission's request for this project moving forward, that would be increased screening using landscaping, no walls, and reaching out to the residences once more in addition. So
How long ago were they reached out? Was this when it first originated or just recently?
recently in anticipation of the hearing
Of this
today.
meeting, yeah.
So that was done with a 1,000-foot radius in terms of what the commissioners had in mind for that extra outreach. Do you mind providing clarification on that?
That was good, thank you.
Okay, perfect. So at this point, we'll work with the applicant team to revise the plans for extra screening, and the commission is satisfied with the noticing.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to approve this project based on the recommendations we made with the hedge and maybe additional landscaping on the south side. And
The
make it second.
city attorney might be able to expand more on this, but I believe we would need to continue the item today so that staff.
So you can approve it tonight. You just have to give staff the findings that you want to change, because the resolution was drafted for denial. I think there's maybe one or two findings that you have to change. So you can go ahead and vote if you want to approve it, and then after that, communicate to staff what you'd like to change or why you're approving it. And then we'll write it up, bring it back for ratification at your next meeting. The decision will have been made tonight, but then the actual ratification of the written findings will come back to you. Does that make sense? So you can still act tonight.
Yes,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Commissioner-
Yes,
May I just add, as part of the submittal process, and it's included in the staff report, the applicant is also required to submit findings, and our findings, which are in the affirmative, are also included in the staff report. And so I think in theory, you could adopt those findings as well.
Is that correct?
Yes, you can adopt their proposed findings. You can also make up your own.
Okay.
If you haven't read them, I wouldn't just blindly say, okay,
Right.
we adopt those.
I agree.
But that is an option.
Okay. So we have a motion. Did you have something else, Commissioner Daly?
I'll wait.
Okay. We have a motion and a do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a vote.
So just for clarification, we're approving it, right? Because
We're approving, and then we'll discuss let's make sure it approves before we discuss changing the findings.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
yes to approve this project.
Vice
Wait,
Chair?
I'm sorry, is a yes vote upholding the denial? Right.
What was the motion made? What was the actual language of the motion? Who made the motion?
I made the motion to approve this project.
Okay, that's fine.
That's, okay.
Yep.
Commissioner Garcia?
Yes.
Vice Chair Quell?
Yes.
Chair Sherrick?
Yes.
Commissioner Galante?
No, as much as I love car washes, don't get me wrong, but we have so many in the city of San Bernardino. I guess this would be more of an economic development question, which I think we need to just put more thought into bringing in different types of businesses. But based on the fact that this lot has been sitting vacant for 20 years, and the fact that I'm looking at some of the pictures I've driven by there and seen homeless encampments, beautification is important for our city. And the fact that you are committing to do that with the landscaping and the noise reduction, et cetera, then I'm going to go ahead and say yes.
Thank you. Motion passes unanimously.
Madam Chair, and at this point, I'd like for staff to have a discussion with you all on those findings that she will need to change to kind of get the bullet points from you that she can incorporate into the resolution. So, Angela, you want to walk through them?
All right, so like our attorney said, I'll be walking you through the findings that were made in the negative. I'll read them to the commission in verbatim, and from there, feedback will be taken in. So starting with finding 1, the proposed use in terms, so I'll start with the finding and then the finding of fact that would be changed. So there's finding number 1. The proposed use is conditionally permitted within and would not impair the integrity or character of the subject land use district and complies with all of the applicable provisions of the development code. The finding of fact that would be changed. The proposed development is a conditionally permitted use pursuant to Development Code Section 19.06.020. The project site is located within the Commercial General CG1 zone and is within an existing urbanized area. The proposed development will comply with all applicable development code standards, such as parking and landscaping. However, since the project is incompatible with the surrounding residential uses, the project would impair the integrity and character of the subject land use district.
So you're asking for comments on that, right?
Correct.
So we could strike through, however, since the project is incompatible with the, I mean, it's categorized as commercial. So strike, however, since the project is incompatible with the surrounding residential uses, the project would impair the integrity and character of the subject land use district. And just support that the finding is fact.
Yeah, at a minimum, I think deleting that sentence gets you to where you want to go. Is there anything additional or specific that you'd like to include in that finding? Okay, so just strike that last sentence. I think that does it, and then we can go on to the next one.
All right, finding number 2. The proposed use is consistent with the general plan. Finding of fact to be changed. The City of San Bernardino General Plan includes goals and policies to guide future development within the city, including the following. General Plan Land Use Element Policy 2.1.2 require that new development with potentially adverse impacts on existing neighborhoods or residences such as noise, traffic, emissions, and stormwater runoff, be located and designed so that quality of life and safety in existing neighborhoods are preserved. General Plan Land Use Element, Goal 2.2, promote development that integrates and minimizes impacts on surrounding land uses. General Plan Land Use Element, Policy 2.2.10, the protection of the quality of life shall take precedence during the review of new projects. Accordingly, the city shall utilize its discretion to deny or require mitigation of projects that result in impacts that outweigh benefits to the public. The proposed project does not implement the above general plan goals and policies that the applicant is proposing for conditional use permit 24-27 due to the potentially adverse impacts on residents along Orange Avenue, where the project exclusively proposes the only 2 points of access for the project's ingress and egress. The proposed project will impact the surrounding uses and will reduce the quality of life of the residents on Orange Street. The applicant has not been able to address the impacts on the surrounding residents.
So I personally find this finding of fact to be contradictory, where you said that it's consistent with the general plan, but then you outline how it's not.
In terms of how this was formatted and how it was reviewed by senior staff, the provided elements are and policies are as they are in the general plan verbatim, and then the response is in that paragraph afterwards of how they do not.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
can I make a question slash request slash
Yes.
suggestion?
sure.
Rather than maybe us wordsmithing everything here in real time, can we give direction to staff to take the necessary direction that we're providing and come back to us at the next meeting with all of this?
That's what we're trying to do, but the problem is staff can't make the findings. Findings have to come from the commission. So
Yep,
your
okay.
ideas, your reasons have to flow from, but let me try and meet you halfway. I've jotted down some things that I've heard through your discussion. I think that the fact that the applicant's telling you that queuing is not anticipated to flow out onto Orange Avenue, the fact that they're going to use sound attenuation technology in their building, and the fact that you're going to condition a hedge or basically, buffered landscaping, that makes it consistent and reduces any kind of concerns about impacts to the residents across the street. Does that accurately capture your discussion and why, you would make this finding in the affirmative? Does that capture it? Am I missing anything?
It does to me. It's good to
Okay,
me.
so that's what we're going to use for that finding. And how many more do we have?
Quite a few.
This is what I'm trying to avoid. I know
Yeah.
that we've had situations like this in the past where there's been a recommendation, it's gone the other way here, and we've asked staff to come back and reformat it. So I'm just trying to be mindful of
I
of
totally
time here.
understand the want to be efficient. I do too. But this is something that we have to do because the findings have to flow from the commission. And since it's fresh, we have to get it and download it now. So let's go to the next one.
All right, I'll try to make this quicker. Finding number 3, approval of the conditional use permit for the proposed use complies with the requirements of the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and Section 19.20.30, Section 6 of the Development Code. Finding of fact to be changed in accordance with Section 15270.
Let me stop you there, Angeline. This one I think you can handle on your own.
Okay.
Finding an
Yes.
exemption or something. I don't think you need anything additional from the commission on this one.
All right, so then we'll skip to finding number 5. Due to the significant.
Number 4?
No, the next one that would have to be changed is what she's referring to, right?
Yes, because finding number 4
Was made in the
maintained that there would
affirmative.
be no significant impacts. So moving on to finding number 5, the location, size, design, and operating characteristics of the proposed use are compatible with the existing and future land uses within the general area in which the proposed use is to be located and will not create significant noise, traffic, or other conditions or situations that may be objectionable or detrimental to other permitted uses in the vicinity or adverse to the public interest, health, safety, convenience, or welfare of the city, finding a fact to be changed. Although the proposed design is in compliance with most of the development code standards, the proposed project is not harmonious or compatible with the existing residences on Orange Street due to the significant noise and traffic that would be generated by the project. The project proposes 2 points of ingress and egress, both on Orange Street. They're approximately 70 feet apart, a 24-foot wide driveway and a 26-foot wide driveway. The entire traffic for the proposed car wash funnels exclusively through Orange Street, a cul-de-sac with 4 detached single-family homes, 3 of which obtain their only access through their driveway on Orange Street. The 4th has a driveway on H Street, although the project's noise impact study exhibits a 60 to 62 dBA or decibel range for the project's noise level, which is below the 65 decibel threshold cited in policy 14.1.4 of the general plan. Stationary noise impacts from on-site sources, dryers, vacuums, etc., would combine with traffic noise of trips generated from the project's operation as a car wash. As such, the proposed project is not harmonious or compatible with these existing homes due to the significant noise and traffic that would be generated by the project by only having points of access along Orange Street. The applicant has not been able to address the impacts on the surrounding residents. As such, the proposed project has been determined not to be compatible with existing and future land uses within the general area due to significant noise and traffic generated by the car wash's operations.
So tell me if you want anything additional. I think on this one, the same 3 reasons that I mentioned before, the fact that there's not anticipated queuing, the fact that they're going to use sound attenuation technology, and the use of buffered landscaping is how you can make it in the affirmative, because this is about traffic and noise. Does that capture the discussion, what you'd want to include?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's do that, Angeline. What's next?
All right, so we're going to finish it out with findings number 6 and number 7, just to give you a heads up. Finding number 6, the subject site is physically suitable for the type and density/intensity of the use being proposed. Finding of fact to be changed, the site is not physically suitable for the type and density/intensity of the project being proposed, as evidenced by project failure to provide an alternate access points for the project to avoid impacting the Orange Street residents. Applicant has stated that the easement on the site prevents them from redesigning the site.
I think this is probably about queuing not anticipated on Orange Avenue, because this is about circulation with different access points. But that's really only applicable if there's a lot of queuing out onto the street that would require that. Anything else that you want to add, commissioners? Okay, go with that, Angeline.
All right, bring it home on finding number 7. There are adequate provisions for public access, water, sanitation, and public utilities and services to ensure that the proposed use would not be detrimental to public health and safety. Finding of fact to be changed. There are adequate provisions for water, sanitation, and public utilities and services for the proposed development. The subject site is located in an urbanized area with a full range of public utilities and services. However, the project does not provide sufficient means of public access to avoid impacts on the quality of life of the Orange Street residents, as the project proposes 2 access points to this cul-de-sac.
Again, I think the queuing, because it's about point of access, I think you can point to that the queuing is not anticipated to flow out onto Orange Avenue. Is there anything else?
No.
Okay, I think we covered it. Anything else that you need, Angeline?
None so far. Thank you so much, Commissioners.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can go on to the next item. Thank you for your patience, too.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff.
Thank you. Item number 5. 5?
Still alive. All right, good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. My name is Mike Rosales with the Planning Division. And item number 5 tonight is Conditional Use Permit 25-04. It is a community support facility comprised of 30 residential units for low-income military veterans. It's situated on 0.76 acres, located at 1351 Northeast Street within the Commercial General 1 zone and the Transit Overlay District. Here we have our zoning map showing the project site. It is within the CG1 zone. Here we have our aerial map of the project site. The project site is vacant and has been for a long time. To the north is the Motel 7. To the west is vacant land. And to the south and to the east, vacant land, which is all overwhelmed with homeless encampments. Here we have the Transit Overlay District. It's the Baseline and East Street. And the Transit Overlay District zone in San Bernardino supports buildings near transit stations in a way that reduces car usage, encourages walking and biking, and improves air quality. It promotes a mix of homes, shops, offices, and parks in compact, easy-to-access areas. The TOD rules apply to all new buildings in these zones and take priority over regular zoning rules. As transit grows, the TOD area can expand, and older buildings that don't meet TOD rules can stay but have limits on changes. The project is located in the East Street and Baselight Street transit station area of the TOD and is designed to support a walkable, transit-oriented community. It complies with the TOD standards for building height up to 42 feet and 3 stories, setbacks with a maximum of 15 feet, and parking, 1 space per unit. Residents will have access to public transit, including the SBX rapid bus line and transportation services provided by the US Vets. Because the proposed housing facility is part of the US Vets overall support programs, staff determined it meets the definition of a social service residential facility. So this is why it's reviewed under the services category rather than as a typical multifamily residential development. This also allows the conditional use permit application to be processed appropriately based on its intended use and services. So the United States Veteran Initiative is a nonprofit organization that has been dedicated to supporting military vets and their families for over 24 years through a range of programs and projects. US Vets works to break down barriers that prevent veterans from achieving or maintaining self-sufficiently. The proposed 30-unit, 22,750 square foot facility will provide permanent housing for veterans households earning less than 61% of the area median for income in the San Bernardino County. Some services will include case management, crisis intervention, career development and job training, life skill workshops, assistant with public benefits, legal aid, child support resolutions, financial management, peer monitoring, and of course, medical and mental health care condition. Each household will be assigned a case manager to develop personalized housing stability plan and provide ongoing support. Case managers will also offer clinical services such as crisis response, counseling referrals, and coordination with the Loma Linda VA Medical Clinic to address any behavioral health needs. The US Vets staff are familiar with the unique needs and culture of the veteran community, and they themselves also receive ongoing veteran-focused training each month in areas such as housing first, motivational interviewing, trauma-informed care, outreach, access, and recovery. The time of operation is Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for support services within the office, which is located on the facilities themselves. It will have approximately 9 employees. For security, there will be a security monitoring system functioning 24/7. We also had reached out to the police department, and they had reviewed the project and provided no comments in opposition. US Vets will provide the on-site services to the residents of the proposed community services. Overnight or temporary housing will not be provided. The prospective tenants will be screened so that the prospects are able to sustain themselves through employment and have the ability to maintain their own financial responsibilities. Food distribution will not be provided on site, and the unhoused are not a part of the services. For access and circulation, the development will be accessed from Northeast Street with an additional ingress-egress point on North Stoddard Avenue. Emergency and refuse vehicles will enter via Northeast Street and exit through North Stoddard. A recorded easement allows continued access for the neighboring property at 1359 and 136, let me go back there, Northeast Street, including a 24-foot gate to accommodate a 40-foot delivery truck once or twice a week. Traffic engineering has determined a traffic analysis wasn't required, and pedestrian safe circulation and parking have been adequately addressed. We have, it is located in the East Street Baseline TOD area, which we touched on, where they will have the 30-unit development will include 30 parking stalls, 6 for EVs and 3 ADA accessible, and also active transportation. It will be a 3-story supportive housing facility, will feature 30 units on the vacant rectangular site, designed in a traditional style with modern elements. Features include arcs, articulated facades, earth tone colors, and varied windows. The project includes 21 one-bedroom units at 570 square feet and 9 two-bedroom units at 880 square feet, as well as a 1,077 square foot office community center, which the residents can use facing East Street. The landscaping, it was designed by a registered landscape architect featuring trees such as Sweet Bay, Palo Verde, and Aloe Hercules, and a variety of shrubs and ground cover, which are all low water usage. You can find the landscaping plans on page 44 through 47 of the packet. I did not include it in the PowerPoint, I apologize. But it is 15.3%, which is over the 15% required. So this project meets the general plan. The project adheres to the TOD standards and the city's D code. It promotes affordable housing by creating 30 units for low-income veterans. It utilizes a vacant, underused site within a developed area, supporting infill goals and making efficient use of urban land. And the development features thoughtful architectural design, including architectural facades and varied materials. The city is also allocating $4 million into this project, which will be recommended for approval of funds at an upcoming MCC meeting. So here's our site looking from East Street. And we can see the little encampment going on. Looking south, and then we're looking north. Here we have the renderings. It's a traditional design, modern hints to maintain compatibility with the surrounding developments. It incorporates the arches and horizontal and vertical articulations, shades of brown color tones, varied window designs to create a relief of building mass, so it's not all just one unit. The residential units will be connected by walkway with supporting metal railings on the top floors, and there will be architecturally treated 6-foot-high decorative masonry block walls with a 24-foot gate, which will be maintained along the northern property line, and with 6-foot-high decorative masonry block along the east and south properties. So here we have the site plan, we have our access, the easement I was referring to. It is on 0.76 acres. Here's the typical floor plan showing each of the units. All right, and with that, our recommendation today is that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2025-048, finding the project categorically exempt pursuant to section 1562 for infill development projects, and approving conditional use permit 25-04, based on the findings of fact and subject to the recommended conditions of approval. I do have housing with me today, and I believe she was going to say a few words.
Good evening, Commission. Trina Perez, Housing Division Manager. So we just wanted to reiterate the importance of this project. As we all know, it's helping a vulnerable population. As Mike stated, we are currently evaluating committing $4 million in city funds to the project, and it should go November 5th. We don't foresee an issue. They've layered a multiple funding sources to make this project come to fruition, and we just wanted to provide our support of the project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trina. So with that, I can take any questions. The applicant is also here to take questions.
Does the applicant wish to speak? Do we have questions by the commission? No questions. I'll go ahead and entertain a.
Check.
Is there a second?
Chair, just for the record, to open and close the public hearing.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:25 and close it at 7:25. Thank you.
I'm sorry, one more time. May I know who made the motion and who seconded? Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
Yes.
Vice Chair Quell?
Yes.
Chair Shurik?
Yes.
Commissioner Galande?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. If we can go ahead and move to item number 6.
Thank you,
motion
Commissioners.
Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, Commission. I'm Deborah Martinez, Associate Planner. I'll be presenting item number 6 for conditional use permit 2512 and public convenience or necessity 2505. So a request has been made to upgrade an alcohol beverage control type 20 license to a type 21 off-sale general for an existing convenience store located in a multi-tenant commercial center located at 1455 West Highland Avenue, Suite 101. The site is located at the southwest corner of Highland Avenue and Mount Vernon Avenue, and it's currently 1.5 acres. The site does consist of 3 separate parcels. The site in question is only one of the parcels. The zone is currently Commercial General CG1. As you can see here in black is the parcel in question in which the site is located. It is surrounded by industrial uses to the north, residential uses to the south, east, Commercial General. This is an existing picture of the site. So the site is currently in Census Tract 42.02, and it currently has 6 active licenses for off-sale. The specific tract does allow for 3 per ABC. So the average crime rate, per the report provided from the police department, does allow a reporting district of 70.97 crimes. Currently, this site is over that number by 76%. This site is also located within 500 feet of sensitive uses, a church directly to the south of it, and another one within the 500 miles, which is requires denial per the development code. In addition to that, there are other uses. This is just a list of other alcohol uses within that tract. As you can tell, there's 6 of them. They're all approximately anywhere from 2,000 feet to 4,000. There is one on the slide that says 0, but that is the existing site. So in this one, you will see at the top right a blue star, which is the site location. In the blue is the census tract. In red, you will see all the type 20 licenses. In yellow, you will see the type 21. The subject site, again, is in blue at the top right. It is staff recommendation to deny conditional use permit 2512 and public convenience or necessity 2505. Not allowing a request for an alcohol upgrade to a type 21. This concludes my presentation. So now that concludes my presentation, you might have in front of you some letters that were provided by the applicant from one of the churches to the south directly. And there's another for the other church, also provided a letter, again, not opposing the project, but not also in favor. In addition, the applicant did provide signatures from both, 82 signatures from both neighbors and customers in favor for them to obtain a license upgrade. Those recommendations do not change staff's recommendation due to the crime rate as provided by the police department and how close it is to the sensitive uses that per the code, if you're within 500 feet, then we have to recommend denial.
I believe we have the applicant is it the applicant who wishes to speak? Eduardo Macias? Yes. And I'll go ahead and open up that public hearing at 7:35.
Good evening, Honorable Chairperson, Sheriff, Commissioners, and staff. My name is Eduardo Macias. I'm the applicant, owner, representative for Los Primos Liquor Market, located at 1455 West Highland Avenue, Suite 101. Thank you for your opportunity to speak today. We respectfully request approval on conditional use permit 25-12 and public convenience of necessity 25-05 to upgrade our existing type 20 of sale beer and wine license to a type 21 of sale general license. This upgrade will allow us to better serve our community by offering a full range of products and our established convenience store, which has been a staple in this neighborhood for over 20 years. Los Primos is more than a store. It's a family-owned business serving a diverse, predominantly Latino community with fresh products and essentials. We have operated responsibly under our Type 20 license without any ABC violations or major incidents. This upgrade isn't about adding a new alcohol outlet. It's about enhancing an existing one to meet customers' demand for convenience and choice, while generating more local jobs and tax revenue. I will address staff concerns directly and demonstrate how this project meets all 7 required findings under Development Code Section 19.36.050. First, on zoning and compatibility, findings 1, 5, and 7. The site is a commercial general CG1 zone where off-sale alcohol sales are permitted with a conditional use permit. Our store is compatible with surrounding commercial uses, including the multi-tenant center and nearby businesses. It aligns with the general plan's land use element policies 2.2.9 and 2.2.10 by protecting quality of life. We have coexisted peacefully with neighbors, and this upgrade will not introduce new impacts. In fact, it supports Goal 3 of the 2020-2025 key strategic targets, improve quality of life, by providing convenient access to products that reduce the need for residents to travel farther, cutting down on traffic and supporting local economy. We have submitted a justification letter, attachment B, outlining these benefits, including how we promote responsible sales. Second, on public convenience or necessity, finding number 2, Census Tract 0042.02 has 6 effective wholesale licenses, exceeding the allowance of 3. However, under Business and Professionals Code Section 23958.4 B2, a public PCN can be granted if the upgrade serves public convenience or necessity. This isn't a new license, it's an upgrade to existing one, so it doesn't increase the number of outlets. Our store serves an underserved community where residents rely on us for one-stop shopping, adding spirits, meats, cultural, and practical needs for family gatherings or cooking, reducing trips to distant stores like El Super, which is 4,781 feet away. We have collected a petition with signatures from local residents showing strong support. Denying this will force customers elsewhere, potentially increasing congestion and loss of revenue for the city that our store contributes in an annual sales tax. This upgrade promotes convenience without undue concentration. Third, on proximity to sensitive uses, finding number 4. Staff notes we are adjacent to New Jerusalem Church of God and Christ, 0 feet, and 469 feet from St. Paul AME Church, below the 500-foot threshold in Development Code Section 19.06.03 2B III. However, we have operated next to these churches for years without any complaints or incidents related to alcohol. We have obtained letters of support from churches leaders confirming no concerns. The churches are separated by physical barriers, streets, and parking, and our store entrance faces away from them. We commit to conditions like no outdoor sales, enhanced lighting, and security cameras to ensure no detrimental effects on nearby residences, schools, or other uses. This upgrade won't change our footprint or operations. It's an internal enhance that maintains harmony. Fourth, on crime and neighborhood impacts, finding number 3 and 6. The police memo shows reporting district 1370, had 125 crimes last year, 76% above the city average of 70.97 per district, with only 4 alcohol-related. Importantly, none of these were linked to our store or incident analysis. Attachment E shows just 26 calls for service and 5 reports, mostly minor and unrelated to alcohol. We have had 0 ABC citations. Upgrading to type 21 won't aggravate issues like loitering or sales to minors. We will implement strict ID checks, training by ABC's LEAD program, and partnership with police for patrols. The district's crime rate includes broader area issues. Nearby backend land to the east, not our store. Approving this supports a responsible business that deters crime through active presence and community ties, not a high crime trigger under the code. In summary, this project meets all findings. It's zoned appropriately, serves public convenience despite concentration, won't aggravate problems, protects sensitive uses with mitigations, is compatible with the area, isn't in a disproportionately high crime zone tied to road operations, and aligns with the general plan by enhancing quality of life. Similar upgrades have been approved in San Bernardino before. We request the Commission overturn the denial, recommendation, and approve with reasonable conditions. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the commission? No? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair.
Close. You want me to-
Did you ask for any public comment, or do we have any
I don't have
cards?
any other speaker
Okay,
slips.
Okay, got
No, but I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:04. Oh, yes?
I would like to add something else. We gathered the signatures from our customers. They're really loyal, and they would like to have a better customer service than one that we provide. We took cover of this store a year ago on September the 10th last year, me and my brother. And like I said, we have improved the store, we have improved the service, and we're just part of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 7:41 with a motion.
Madam Chair, before the commission makes a motion, let's just clarify where staff is coming from. Some of the findings that are here are, the code is very specific. Locational provisions, for example, we can't overlook that. That is an automatic item that if it's within a certain distance. But then it begs the question, they already have an existing beer and wine license. Now they're trying to upgrade to a full liquor license. So I'm going to assume that the code changed that required the locational provisions between the time they had the beer and wine, because they shouldn't have gotten a beer and wine license if the locational provisions were in the code at that particular time. So he might be thinking, I already have beer and wine, I'm only upgrading to alcohol, to full liquor, and we're the same store, we haven't changed. Why are we recommending denial on this project? So that is where we're coming from.
So I do have a question, and I've asked this of planning staff outside of this meeting, but the answer I was provided was, I don't know. So my question is, why are churches sensitive uses for alcohol?
Well, it's just the way the code is written. Churches, schools, and uses like that, some religious institutions, because of their faith, are basically opposed to alcohol use. Same thing with schools, so that you don't expose children of a certain age to that. I couldn't answer that question, but that is where our code is. That is the way our code is.
So it's
currently
just
written.
because that's the way the code was written?
Yes.
Understood. Are there any comments or I'll go ahead and reopen the public hearing.
As I previously mentioned, I got the 2 letters from the pastors
Yes.
of the churches. The first time that we came to this community, we went with them to present ourselves. If there is anything that they will need, or if there were any issues or concerns, we're more than welcome to help them out. As you see on the letters, I think they mentioned that they don't support it, but that's otherwise, because what they told me is that they will support me. If they need anything else, you guys can reach out to them too. They put their number there, and their, the thing is that they couldn't make it today.
Sure.
Thank you.
I do have one question. If by chance this commission was to approve the license, would you be willing to install security cameras that integrated with our police department?
Of course.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and again close. Is there any other comments?
I'll just say that I had a similar thought, Madam Chair, about the cameras and the interconnection into the police department. So I'm glad you brought it up. And,
Thank you.
You know, notwithstanding the various changes in the code and you know, kind of the legacy license that the establishment has, if they have it, and if they're willing to kind of help support community safety with that, I'd be open to, you know, approving the new license.
As would I. But are there any other comments or questions by the commission? Commissioner Garcia.
I just wanted to get clarification. Did I hear we're changing our recommendation to denying to approval from
No.
staff?
Staff's recommendation stands. It's up to the planning commission what the commission wants to do. Staff's recommendation is for a denial. And the reasons, if you want staff to reiterate the reasons why we're recommending denial, we can do that.
No, I just wanted to get clarification because I think I heard since they had 82 signatures from their clients or neighbors, that would be another reason to approve this item.
No. So the applicant did provide signatures, but that does not change staff's recommendation.
And Madam Chair, if I may, I want to put a fine point on what the code says. So staff is telling you that there's 2 reasons why they're recommending denial. The first is the PD reporting that the crimes are more than 20%. The code says that if a location is within a crime reporting district or within 500 feet of a crime reporting district where the general crime rate exceeds the citywide general crime rate by more than 20%, that may be grounds for denial, okay? That's not a black and white rule. That's may be grounds. But the second reason is black and white. The second is the locational restriction. It says, unless otherwise exempted under subsections B through H, and I've reviewed those, and the situation doesn't apply here, a new alcoholic beverage sales activity is not permitted within 500 feet of any of the following locations, and it includes a place of worship or religious institution. That restriction is black and white.
Understood. Commissioner Daley.
So, Mr. City Attorney, so just to wordsmith a couple things. So we said, I heard new. Is existing and expanding considered new?
Yes.
Okay, so going from 20, so the fact that they have a level.
Not only is it new, but it's a more intense use.
Mhm.
Selling hard liquor is more intense than selling beer and wine.
So is it then legal recommendation that, given the fact that the request here is new, and that would then violate the code? Should the planning commission approve
That is
it?
my legal interpretation. Should you vote to approve this, I think it would be in violation of the code. I'm not telling you what to do, but that's how I read the code.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna take a question from the applicant real quick.
So I have a comment on that. Census Tract 004E2.02 has 6 effective wholesale licenses, considering the allowance of 3. However, under Businesses and Professions Code Section 23958.4 B2, A PCN can be granted if the upgrade serves public convenience or necessity. Also on the crime, like I said, like I mentioned, the district had 125 crime last year, 76% above the city average per district, with only 4 alcohol-related, and none of those were from our store or associate to our store. Thank you.
Commissioner Garcia?
For city staff, can you remind me the type 1 and type 2 crimes, what the categories are related to?
Commissioner Garcia, if I remember correctly, type 1 crimes are some of the very serious crimes. Type 2 crimes are felonies, misdemeanors, and theft and things of that nature. Type 1 crimes would be like murder, things of very significant.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lopez?
I thank you for your presentation. You seem very sincere, you and your brother, but I cannot vote for this out of the fact that it seems you're already 3 strikes. The oversaturation of the area, as our attorney mentioned, within 500 feet of 2 churches. And I saw the letters from the pastors. I can't believe that the pastor is speaking for every single member of the church, but maybe what his impression and speaking for himself and as the pastor of that church. But I don't think he asked every single member and the crime report. So I don't think I could vote for this. Thank you.
Are there any other comments by the commission?
Sir, I had one more question. Can we clarify, how did the business get a type 20 if they were close to a religious facility in the beginning?
Go ahead.
Sorry. So looking at history from both the city and ABC, they obtained a type 20 back in the 80s. So at that point, the municipal code most likely was different, had different requirements, and that's how they were able to obtain the license. But currently, under current development code, for them to obtain a type 21, they would have to follow current development standards.
So that means maybe this religious facility was built after they obtained the license.
It could be either, it could be or it could be both. It could be that the religious facility wasn't there and this locational restriction was in your code, but it didn't apply because they weren't within 500 feet. Or it could be that the church was there, but this part of your code did not exist yet, in which case it wouldn't have applied. So we really don't know. All we can deal with is the here and now.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention, I'm in favor of changing the type 20 to 21. I think the applicant did their due diligence. They reached out to religious facilities. They reached out to clients. They reached out to neighbors. And they're doing what they can, and they're willing to install security cameras within this liquor store or store.
Commissioner Daley?
Thank you. I don't disagree, Commissioner, with that. I think my challenge is, it kind of sounds like the applicant was able to obtain this license, grandfathered in, and kind of is somewhat stuck because they can't get anything more because that would violate code, and that's not a position that I'm interested in putting ourselves in. And through no fault of the applicant, did they find themselves in this situation too? This is just kind of an unfortunate kind of turn of events, in my opinion. And given what I've heard from our city attorney, I'm not going to be able to support this, and I'm going to have to vote to deny it as well.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Macias?
I would like to add that we're not gonna, we only don't sell alcohol. We also provide fresh products for customers. We are thinking of adding meat too, because we're about to open another, a meat store, but up the hill in a few days. So once that we have that open, we're planning on bringing meat to our customers too. So it's just not we're not like focusing on the alcohol, but we would like to have that to acquire more customers too and provide more services to our customers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for staff. If this is a blatant violation of code, why would you bring it? Why is it being brought to the commission for us to be given the opportunity to violate that code?
That's because the applicant has a due process right to be heard.
Okay.
Staff does not have the power to approve or deny it. Only the commission does. That's why it comes to you.
So what are the ramifications if we go against code?
Well, someone would have to legally challenge. If no one legally challenged, it's not an issue. That's why I'm telling you now. That's why I'm not telling you what to do.
Right.
But I'm telling you that if someone challenged it as being in violation of the code, it's in violation of the code.
And also, Madam Chair, from a staff perspective, if you decide to approve this, in our eyes, you're setting a precedent.
Exactly.
So going forward, when there's a project that you felt really negative about, we're going to say, well, the last one you said because of the blah, 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 you approved it. So
Sure.
It's a double-edged sword.
So excuse me, my follow-up question is, do you recall, has there been a time when this commission has gone against the code and approved?
I don't recall one particularly that you actually gone against the code, especially referring to,
ABC
let's
license.
do specifically with ABC licenses.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I know we've brought some denials that went with denials, and we brought some approvals that end up in denials and vice versa. But I don't recall specifically that we're actually asking this particular question regarding locational provisions. In the other ones we've done, there have been, crime statistics and being unable to make the PCN findings. But when you have a statute that said if it's within, a particular distance of a religious institution or sensitive land use, it's there for a reason. And if we feel empathetic to this particular situation, maybe what we need to be doing is take that language off and just open up the floodgates.
So that's my next question is, with our new development code being approved and with staff not being able to answer the question why church is a specialized group, is that something that can be looked at in the future with our code renewal?
Madam Chair, we can look at it, but we also have to look at the city council perspective. Your perspective is one, the city council perspective is other. I'm not sure what the impacts would be if we took that requirement off. I don't know of too many jurisdictions that don't have that locational provisions for churches and schools and other sensitive
I'm not
land
asking
uses.
about schools. I just don't understand I personally don't understand the correlation with church.
Yeah. We can, I don't know if Albert has any historical, legal.
The only thing that I could tell you from a legal perspective is the code has a section about purpose and why these restrictions exist. They include, as I read it, 5 reasons: to protect surrounding neighborhoods from the harmful effects attributable to the sale of alcoholic beverages and to minimize the adverse impacts of non-conforming and compatible uses, 1. 2, to encourage businesses selling alcoholic beverages to operate in a manner that is mutually beneficial to other such businesses and other commercial and civic activities, 2. 3, provide a mechanism to address problems often associated with the public consumption of alcoholic beverages, such as litter, loitering, graffiti, unruly behavior, and escalated noise levels. 4, ensure that businesses selling alcoholic beverages are not the source of undue public nuisances in the community. And lastly, 5, ensure that sites where alcoholic beverages are sold are properly maintained so that negative impacts generated by these activities are not harmful to the surrounding environment in any way. So, if I'm looking in my crystal ball and providing you a legal analysis, I'm looking at littering, loitering, graffiti, unruly and escalated noise levels. The code is trying to keep apart people that attend church, people that attend schools from those behaviors. That's what the code's trying to do as a prophylactic, saying if it's within 500 feet, you do not get approved.
Understand. Thank you. Commissioner, you had questions?
Oh, no.
Galante?
I don't have anything else to say. I think the fact that, I think everyone has said pretty much what was on my mind. We have the police report. We know that it's oversaturation. We know that it's near a school. And based on the fact that previously we denied other businesses that came to the commission making the same request. So based on that, I'm going to say no.
I'm going to go ahead with our co-chair, Quill, and then I'll go to you, Mr. Macias.
This question is probably for Albert, our legal. If you look at other, I know this gets way out there, but if you look at other states that have problems like that, they just don't sell alcohol on Sundays. And conditioning an approval, when we talk about cameras and recording and that type of stuff, I don't think there's any of us on the Planning Commission that has the expertise to ask what kind of system should be installed. So maybe in a later date, we might have some legal person or somebody talk to us about what level of security that we could request as a condition for something like this.
We've made this request in the past.
I think that's a question that could be directed towards the police department. They could
which
probably
is
work with
something
staff.
I've asked for multiple times as a commissioner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
staff can speak to that. I don't know if they've had those conversations.
Yes, I believe the gas station going up to 330, that request was made.
Yeah. So it'd be nice if we knew the level of security and how we would apply a condition to something like this. So in looking this all over, I know what the city is talking about, and I know what the code says. I know what the ABC code says, and it's different than what the city code is. And also in his letter here, he references the, where did I see that? Business Professional Code. The Business Professional Code is set up quite unique, but San Bernardino being a charter city, there's some things in there may not apply to us. Is that correct?
As a general rule, that could be correct. I think as applied to this specific application, the ABC standards, they are different. But it's not that one is supreme over the other. They both apply. And so they have to meet the city code. And if they meet the city code, then they also have to meet the ABC regs because they talk about different things. So they're not necessarily in conflict.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I've heard some people leaning towards approval. I've heard some people leaning towards denial. You have 6 here. It could end up in a tie. What I'd recommend that you do is ask for a straw poll, see where it's at, because if it is as at a tie, then I might recommend continuing this out until you can get an odd number of commissioners to actually have a decision one way or the other.
So I would just ask what the commissioner would vote for beforehand. Okay, Commissioner Daley?
I will vote for the staff recommendation to deny the permit.
Commissioner Lopez?
I vote for denying.
Commissioner Garcia?
And I'm voting for approving the item.
Commissioner Quill?
I'm voting for approval, but I'd like to know
Please use our mic.
I'd like, I'm in approval of this. I feel for the owners, but I'd like to know how we could condition it to really hone in on what can be beneficial for our community.
I am also in favor of this project.
No, sorry.
No, Commissioner Glande, go ahead.
Okay, no.
Thank you. If I could let the applicant, Mr. Macias.
We are more than welcome to work with the community. If you guys ask for any other provisions, we can do it like respectfully. He said probably not selling on Sundays. We're more than willing to do that. Also, if you guys want to talk to the church representatives, they're more than willing to talk to you guys too. If they have any recommendations too, we can accommodate those too.
Thank
That's
you.
no problem. Thank you.
So we took a straw poll.
You're 3-3. So,
Yes.
So I mean, your options are this: you could continue it out and see if you can get some more commissioners. That way, there could be an actual decision one way or the other. Because if you do vote tonight and it ends up in a tie, the result of that is it's a down. It's not approved.
Right.
That's the result of that. So, I mean, my recommendation is to continue it out until you can get, 1 or 3 more to come so that you can have
Sure.
a decision.
Vote on that?
Yes.
Do we vote on that?
Yes, you do. You
Okay.
would make a motion to continue if that's what you want to do.
Okay, Commissioner Garcia?
I just wanted to get clarification, Attorney Maldonado. When you mentioned code, are we talking about the ABC code, or what code section are we referring to?
The code I was reading from is the city's code, the city's development code.
Because I would like to suggest if we push this item out to next month, is there any way we can reach out to ABC code, get clarification from that? Our city code, just check the different code sections, the business, do a little bit more investigation?
Sure, staff can do some additional work. Again, I don't think that they're necessarily in contrast to each other, but I do know that if you were to approve this, then it's going to be in violation of the city's code. I do know that for certain. What I don't know is if someone would actually bring a legal challenge to it. But if you want to continue this out, sure, we could do some additional work on that. And it would give also staff some time to contact the city's PD and see what they would recommend for a condition for security cameras and what that security system might look like.
Okay, so is that a motion, Commissioner Garcia?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion to.
Okay. Commissioner Daly, you had some questions?
Yeah, it's more of a comment. I mean, I personally, I think we should, give them the permit. I don't have a problem with alcohol permits, and I don't have a problem with spirits. I don't have a problem with any of it. What I have a problem with is us as a commission setting a precedent that knowingly and it consciously is violating a city code. We can disagree on whether or not we think the code is applicable, or we like the code, or we don't like the code. That's a council decision, that's a policy decision, maybe that's a state decision. But I'm not comfortable with this commission setting precedent to, after our attorneys are telling us, if you do this, you're going to be in violation of the city code. And if somebody were to take issue with that and then decide to sue the city because of that, chances are that's going to be legal expenses. That's not going to be good. And so I think we sometimes have to, personally, I'd vote for it, but I think what we're hearing is if we do vote for this, then we're going to consciously and knowingly and willfully make a decision that is in violation of the city's code. And that is what I have a problem with, and I don't think that sets good precedent for us as a body to say, I know what the code says, but in this case, it doesn't really apply to me. That's my issue. That's my only issue. We're not in a position to change the city's code. So that's why my position is going to continue to be what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear.
I concur with that.
I hear you, Commissioner Daly. Yeah. And with it being said that way, I would change my straw to a no. One moment, please. I do agree with Commissioner Daly, and I would love to be able to give you this license, but setting a precedence is not good for the city. And so I'm sorry, my straw poll vote would have to change to a no. And hopefully we can look at changing that code, and would the applicant be able to reapply if the code was changed?
Madam Chair, the applicant can apply for a code amendment, but it's an expensive process.
Sure.
Just to talk about
But
the-
if we, in moving forward, this body changes that code, would the applicant be able to come back?
We could entertain discussion. We could do something rather than 500 feet. We could do 1,000 feet. We can do 1,500 feet. I've worked with codes there if it's within 1,000 feet. Something happened in this city at a particular time that tightened the requirements for alcohol beverage licenses.
Or we could change the code that said, we're not selling alcohol on Sundays within 500 feet of a church.
I'm not sure if that would violate larger or violate people's rights, because we're not a blue state. Some states, like state of Texas,
Sure.
they don't, blue law says you can't sell alcohol
Right.
on Sundays. I think here, I'm not sure if we as a city could say we don't sell alcohol on Sunday, because somebody is going to challenge that on religious basis that says I drink alcohol on Sunday as part of my worship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So I would put in a substitute motion to go ahead and uphold staff's recommendation to deny.
That's a motion, Madam Chair. There's been no
I think we
formal
had a
motion.
motion, we did have a.
Was there a motion?
Yes, we had a motion by
formal
Commissioner
motion?
Garcia. There was no second.
What was the motion? Okay, then the same. There's no substitute motion.
Okay.
If there was no second, it's not a motion on the floor, so you can make a motion.
So I make a motion to uphold staff's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Can I add one more thing? I just wanted to ask, can we still do the further investigation on those code sections? So if we're presented this in the future, we're more knowledgeable and we have a better response, and is in our city code, are there any exceptions? Because what if I got a license today and a month from now, there's a religious facility 100 feet away from my liquor store? Does that mean my license gets revoked?
No.
Or
No.
what happens
No.
then?
No, so we know the answer to that, so that you would be a legal non-conforming use. So if you got a liquor license at a time when there was no religious facility, there was no school, all the other ones that are mentioned in the code, within 500 feet of your site, you could get the permit. Let's say you got the entitlement approval. Then a church comes in next door, or a school comes in across the street. So they're within 500 feet, then you could not get a new alcohol permit.
Right, but you get to keep the one you have, or
Correct.
the one where you were granted at that time.
And again, if we could just do a little bit more investigation on that, I'd be curious to know what the ABC code and just the different code section is.
I
say.
can amend my motion to include that. Thank you. We have a first and a second. Mr. Macias.
I have a question for the lawyer. So what's the part of the code that we are in violation? You can repeat on that, please?
Yes, so it's in the development code. It's section 19.06.030, number 2, capital B, article 2, section 3, capital A, number 3.
So that is the threshold in development code for the churches, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so even though we have the support from those churches, it doesn't change anything?
Not in the code.
Unfortunately, no, it does not. And you might remember, commissioners, that maybe, I don't know, in the last quarter, there was a business that came through for a car service station, and they were applying for an alcohol license, and they were within 500 feet of a church or a school, or maybe both. But that is an exception in your code, and that's not a black and white rule. In your code, it says if there's an automobile service station, then they can still get a license. It's not written black and white like it is here, where it's not a service station. So you might remember that from a few months ago.
Oh, because it's a gas, like a gas station.
But this is a different scenario, and this part of your code, it's black and white.
Okay.
Unfortunately, for the applicant.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Mr. Macias, and then we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing and take a vote.
I just want to ask for a second chance to do more research on the code to see if there is any opportunity for us to acquire that license. We are more than willing to work with you guys. I'm just asking for opportunity. Thank
And
you.
I believe this commission appreciates your willingness, but the code is very clear. We are asking for research in the future, but as far as this license, the motion is to uphold staff's recommendation to deny. I'm very sorry. Thank you so much. Can we please go ahead and close the public hearing at 8:12? Thank you.
Commissioner Daly?
Yes.
Commissioner Lopez? Yes. Commissioner Ivan Garcia?
It's the staff's recommendation we're voting?
Yes.
No.
Vice Chair Quayle,
No.
Chair Sherrick,
Unfortunately, yes.
Commissioner Galante.
Yes, and also I'd like to thank Mr. Elliott for just really highlighting the fact that if we do something like this, that we're setting the tone, and for Commissioner Daly for highlighting that as well. So thank you.
Vote passes 4-6.
Thank you. 4-2.
My apologies, 4-2.
I believe that's all of our public hearings. Is that correct?
It is, Madam Chair. We are now going to go to non-public hearings and then discussion.
Go ahead.
Any non-public hearing items from members of the commission?
Does the commission have any reports, comments?
I just have a comment, and I know this is probably just a side note. It's in regards to the car washes.
Yes.
You know, we have so many car washes that are coming our way, and I just would love to know why do we have so many that come to the city of San Bernardino? And furthermore, how do they benefit the city overall? I know in today's discussion, it's better than having an empty lot, right? That's been sitting there for I don't know how many years, 20 years, with encampments going in there and so forth. But I think as us as planning commissioners, one of the things that we, at least for myself, reason why I took on this role was the fact that I want to be an advocate, right, for the community and think about what are the businesses that are coming in that are going to help the residents within our city. And the fact that we have so many car washes and storage facilities and coffee shops now, what are we doing to bring in better types of businesses that will help our residents? Just curious.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Galante, we have an issue here that I think translates into revenue. Because as a result of the bankruptcy, we basically gave away our property tax to the county. So we rely solely on sales tax, which puts us in a very precarious position.
So you said solely on
sales
tax.
Sales tax. So some people would rather have 50, 70 car washes as long as it brings in revenue, while others would say, if you look at the per capita, I think I did the calculation at one time. For a population of 220,000, at one time I had a count of about 40-something odd car washes. So you do the math, it tells you how many car washes per population that we have. Now, if you compare that to other jurisdictions, is it that high? I really don't know. Is it a source of revenue? Absolutely. But as far as this particular site is concerned, and I appreciate the fact that, yeah, we hadn't touched the application in over a year, and we're working on issues like that. I was looking for always the highest and best use. That site, it's a dump. The furniture, couch, whatever is out there, there's probably a lot of bad things happening in that location, but doesn't necessarily mean that the car wash is the best use for that location, just because of the adjacency of the residential use. That is my perspective, but you guys have opined on that, and we're going forward. So the next application that we receive, to me, it's like, okay, you have set some kind of a guidance in this particular instance, because if consideration of adjacency is an issue for the commission, this is one particular project that should have said, well, you know what, we understand, blah, 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 but so this is where we are now. I don't know what is around the corner. I don't know how many car washes we're going to have, but I don't have a mandate to stop car washes from coming into the city.
That would have to come from council.
Unfortunately.
A mandate would have to come from council.
Right. Unfortunately, we don't have a mandate we can only absorb so many. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So the next item is discussion on the citywide truck route plan, and Mr. Saeed Naseh, our interim city planner, will be giving a presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission, Saeed Nasser, Interim City Planner. Staff just distributed the proposed citywide truck route plan. And originally, we were working on the truck route plan as part of the general plan. However, the state passed a law a couple of years ago, AB 98, that mandates the city to adopt a citywide truck route plan by end of this year. We've done all of our studies. We're getting our staff report ready for the November Planning Commission meeting, and subsequently we'll take it to City Council in December. That gives us pretty tight schedule. We wanted to make sure that the commission has the truck route map in advance of the November meeting. And I know it's a very small scale plan, and it's very hard to read. So what I'll do tomorrow, I'll email the commission the electronic copy. You can zoom in and kind of look at it in more detail. And you'll have my email as well. You can just provide your comments to me by email or call me if you see anything that we should pay attention to. This is just all the information I have tonight. Just wanted to give the commission extra time to review the truck routes before the November meeting.
I have a question. Was this reviewed by Public Works? Aren't they the ones who issue the permit?
Yes, we've worked with our engineering staff to review all the truck routes, and this is the result of it. We've also talked to the police department who enforce, so we've done all that.
And I have one more question. I noticed on 5th Street, I don't know if this was a printing error, it seems to break up, particularly between Tippecanoe and Waterman. It looks like there's only a small section. How would you just have that one segment as a truck route?
I'll just say that section specifically, the lines that are shown on the map here are just where they sit within our jurisdiction.
Okay.
The sections on either side of that are actually county pockets.
Okay.
So they do exist. They're just not, this map does not show all of the routes in the other jurisdictions, but it does continue through.
Except for the state. It shows the state.
Yeah, it identifies the state routes, the freeway, and then the 18. It just does not show the streets in the
county.
Within the county, Highland, Colton, things like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis.
Question.
Commissioner Garcia, sure.
How often is the truck route going to be updated? And how do semis or trucks know that this is a truck route? I asked the question because I always drive on Baseline, right? And where that Go car wash is, I see trucks all the time making rights onto Avenue E. Traffic hazard for sure. So is the city going to install any type of signs?
Yes.
How are we going to hold truck drivers, operators accountable for following this truck route?
Yes, as part of AB 98, the city is required to place signs to identify the truck routes. Truck routes are a little bit complicated because you could have streets that are truck routes that all the trucks can use, but you could also have streets that are not truck routes that trucks can use if they are delivering something or they're picking up something from certain address that they have to use a non-truck route street.
Question. So does this mean there will be no overnight parking on streets other than these marked streets?
These are not parking. These are routes that trucks can travel.
I understand. But what tool are you going to use to enforce the trucks to use these streets?
The police department will enforce the ordinance.
Okay. Because a lot of truck drivers park on side streets, cul-de-sacs, that type of thing throughout the whole city. When Norton Air Force Base closed up and Tippecanoe was already being heavily used by trucks, the idea was to go out 3rd Street to the 210 freeway. And that's what we were all hoping for when Stater Brothers went in there. But Stater Brothers still has trucks going all over the city, whether it's down here on 2nd Street or 3rd or whatever. And so I don't know how you're going to get them to change their thoughts to go out to the 210.
Well, again, because we haven't had truck routes, we have not been enforcing it. And we're also working with the California Trucking Association. We've reached out to them. We've said, we're doing this. This is our truck routes map. Please let us know, talking to your members, please let us know if you have any comments. So far, they've provided a comment letter to us, but they haven't said, oh, we need this truck route removed or added. They've basically said that make sure that all the truck routes between cities are continuous, and semis can access commercial destinations like a grocery store if they're not on a truck route.
Thank you.
Commissioner Daley?
Thank you. To Commissioner Quill's point, I'm a frequent traveler along the 3rd Street out towards Highland. And I can understand, the shaded unincorporated county stuff. And I guess some of this actually kicks out over into Highland. But if you follow 5th Street, it will take you straight to, to the 210 now. After they opened up the kind of cut through there. So that's encouraging. I am very interested in kind of what our pavement management plan is going to look like, particularly in those areas that are unincorporated county, because when it's unincorporated county and the city, it's like, well, it's not my asphalt, and it's not my asphalt, and so we drive on it. So I'm just, that's a opinion, but I would be interested in knowing kind of what the pavement management plan looks like for these truck routes. And then just for my own kind of edification, over the years, the area around the BNSF rail yard has been identified as having the highest level of community risk in the state of California due to the proximity of all of the residential homes immediately surrounding the rail yard, and the fact that maybe not now, we got a new rail yard going up in Barstow, but for a long time, this rail yard is heavily trafficked and is notorious for using very small streets that no 18-wheeler should be on. And so I'm just looking over and kind of in that general vicinity where I see what appears to be kind of a rectangle just south of 66 there as kind of the truck route for the area around the rail yard. And I just want to flag that, draw special attention to it, because, to Commissioner Quill's point about overnight parking, that's an area notorious for, trucks idling, for just waiting outside the yard to get in, and you're dealing with, hundreds of homes that are in that immediate vicinity around the rail yard entrance. So I just want to draw special attention to that, particularly from an environmental justice standpoint, and hopefully we can do some quality enforcement to make an already bad situation with horrible air quality over there less worse.
Thank you. We appreciate the comment.
Thank you.
I had some more
Commissioner
comments.
Garcia?
Is there any way we can update the legend to show alternate streets that trucks are using? Because you mentioned that they still have to access other streets. How would we know, based on this map or site plan, which streets are accessible to trucks?
It's any
You
street.
wouldn't.
Is it any street?
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
The purpose of this map is to identify the truck routes that the big trucks can go on legally and often. All the other ones are just for local deliveries or pickups.
Okay. And my other two questions is, so this means with this truck route, when an applicant applies for a project, I'm hoping that warehouses are gonna be near these truck routes. That we're not having, or is it, do we have anything in the code, our municipal code, that tells the applicant developer that they must build near these truck routes or streets?
The points that you're making, they're excellent points, and they're actually part of AB 98. That it goes as far as saying that when a warehouse project comes in, they have to tell us exactly how their trucks are getting from the warehouse to the freeway. So that's an additional enforcement for us to use.
And I just hope city staff can make comment on that, review that when, applicants, developers submit plans to the city.
Absolutely, we have to.
Commissioner Garcia, it's actually a requirement of AB 98 that when we have these warehouse developments, that they identify what Mr. Nasser just said. They have to identify how they get to their facility and off their facility. So they have to submit their truck routing plan as part of any future development.
Okay, because I don't recall seeing any of those maps, and maybe I overlooked them in any of our...
Well, I mean, AB 98 is a recent legislation.
It doesn't kick in until January.
Right.
Got it. Okay, and then the last comment or question that I had was, or comment, I know we had a meeting a couple months back that, I forget the name of the authority having jurisdiction, that mentioned we have a shortage of truck, semi parking lots. Will this truck route be presented to them, or are we partnering, collaborating with that jurisdiction?
I think he mentioned that in his presentation. We're working with, what group are we working with?
California Trucking Association.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because I'm asking that question because, again, on Baseline and D Street, where we had the old Smart and Final, that's like a parking lot for semis. I drive by there, again, every day, and there's always 2 to 10 trucks just parked there. That's why I just wanted to ask these questions. Hopefully we're...
Commissioner Garcia, truck parking is a related item to the truck routes. The truck parking issue, we're working diligently in having a more defined land use designation for truck parking, and for that reason, we'll be able to more readily process those kinds of applications at this particular time. So we are working on that as well. On the issue of truck parking, there are advocates for it, people who believe that our city should be the next, what is that city that starts with a B? It's the county territory. Our city, no, what is it?
Bloomington.
Bloomington. Some people are advocating that we should be the next Bloomington. And I am saying I don't think so. And for the fact that we don't have a rigid standard for approving truck parking. So right now, it's willy-nilly. Everybody parks anywhere they want. So we're coming up with some specific guidance in our code that would identify that issue. So if you're a proponent, you'll get what you want. If you're an opponent, you get what you want. But the city is not going to become a Bloomington.
Commissioner Cole?
Yeah. I just want to point something out here that right now, Waterman is a heavy truck route that takes you up to the mountains on the 18. Here, you don't even show the line going from Highland up to the 210.
Is that county?
No, that is all city.
Oh.
So that line will have to be extended, Waterman, up to that interchange at 210 and 18.
I will say, actually, that stretch we did have on an earlier version, and it was actually PD's recommendation or their request to remove that stretch between there. From the 210 on up, that's a state route. That's fine. That's why it's yellow on here. There's nothing for us to even do with that. But coming from Highland South, they didn't see that connecting up to the 210, and they asked expressly to remove it.
Did they give a reason?
He said something. Forgive me, I can't remember the exact reasoning, but it was per their request.
That would be nice if they don't travel it, but there's going to be a lot of trucks
Yeah.
used to that route that are going to, that's going to be a tough one.
I do remember, and I apologize, I remember they did say something specifically about it. It just escapes me at the moment.
Thank you.
Commissioner Daly?
Procedural questions, and I apologize if this was already mentioned. So what's next here?
Next, we'll come back to the Planning Commission in a public hearing to formally present the truck route map for Commission's consideration and recommendation to City Council.
Okay, and then that'll go to council, and then they'll, is it an ordinance then they'll adopt?
It's a combination of a resolution and ordinance. The resolution would be for a general plan amendment to the circulation element to add the truck routes map. And the ordinance would be just put it in our municipal code that we have certain streets designated as truck routes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a director's report?
Madam Chair, I don't know if the commission would like to take a few minutes break. I have a director's report, and I anticipate a lot of discussion on that item. So I don't know if you want to take a 5-minute break before we reconvene, or if you want to continue. Either one is fine with me.
Yeah, we'll take a break.
Thank you.
Thank you. How long? 5 minutes. 5-minute break. We'll go ahead and reconvene Planning Commission.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission. At the last Planning Commission meeting, I indicated that we were bringing to you a report of our inspection of the Motel 6 facility that is being used by NHHA. And the reports that you have in front of you kind of goes over 4 areas. Planning, we have housing, we have building and safety, and let me see which other one we have in there, and code enforcement. So, but I'm just going to kind of give you an overview of what has transpired since the last Planning Commission meeting. I invited the motel owner, Mr. Patel, to come and have a conversation. We sat down in my office, and I had, were you there, Saeed, when we met? Well, I had, our building official was with me, and I think the code enforcement manager was there. Travis, were you there? Yep. Yeah, and Travis was there as well. So we asked Mr. Patel about this question. The first question was, the Planning Commission wanted to know when NHHA is going to take 100% control of the motel. He told us that that is probably not going to happen until sometime in November, and the reason is that it is going to start as a lease to own, and he would not allow them to start occupying the property 100% until they instituted their recoup care portion of that facility. And so my understanding was, he said specifically, oh, they haven't started the recoup yet, because I wouldn't let them start, because the recoup is going to include doing significant modifications to the building, et cetera, et cetera. Come to find out, that's not a true statement. If you look at the report provided by Gabriela Leon, our homeless solutions manager, they went there and they made an observation that a group called Whole Person Care, which is an affiliate of NHHA, was actually there, and they asked Home Person Care specifically, are you already running a recoup facility there? And they said, yes, we do. So that's a concern, because the owner said they hadn't started. Their affiliates are saying they have started. But let me just complicate the matters for you a little bit more. We also found out that there are other agencies that are actually leasing that motel. The city, using it for a voucher program, which was going to be terminated, which will be terminated around November 19. The county, which also uses that facility for, any place you want to put an on-house person, they send them over there. And the city, again, they're using it as a, a kind of a sober living facility with 20 beds. Now, just to make it clear, all those uses do not require a conditional use permit. This recoup portion does require a conditional use permit. So the impacts you're seeing out there is a cumulative impact of several of these uses that we did not know existed, but that do currently exist. And I also spoke to the police chief, and he confirmed that just the exterior of the building, as you go down to Home Depot and there's other places, you could see the unhoused people just kind of milling about. I also understand, and I haven't confirmed this, that they're actually spreading into the residential areas of Vermont, that they're, unhoused people are sleeping in people's front porches, et cetera, that it has really gotten really, really bad. So if you look at the building officials' report, you will find that there have been modifications made. Mr. Patel did indicate that he made those modifications, not NHHA, because those modifications were made, and Jerry can confirm that based on the age of those modifications, they were probably done within the last 6 to 9 months, which would put us at maybe around January, February, March, April, whenever. And those were done without permits, so we have issues. The issue concerning occupancy, how come they are in the building operating without a certificate of occupancy? Well, technically speaking, they should not be operating without a C of O, and they are currently operating without a C of O based on the observations that we have seen that operation is actually taking place at the motel. So the situation we have now is the building official is going to have to enforce the CFO requirement, which is you can't operate without a certificate of occupancy, and to get a certificate of occupancy, you have to cease operation. I mean, it gets really complicated. Regarding Commissioner Carloni's questions about on-site circulation and change in occupancy, Jerry's email addressed that is something that's strictly done by the fire department. Although there's a letter change in the occupancy requirement. So we're going from a occupancy 2 to a 2A or something, but it is not a significant change because it's still within the realm. And I think his report in bullet point number 3 under response. So for the motel itself, it's in the building code is 310.2, which is an R1 occupancy. For a group home, which is a residential care facility, is 310.3.1. And then section 435 is the special provisions of the state fire marshal. So it would seem to me like there needs to be a robust look at all the operations that are happening at that location, because the motel has an existing conditional use permit for them to operate. We have recently conditionally approved a conditional use permit for the recoup care. We cannot have 2 conditional use permits operating at the same time. So the resolution would be either for the motel to vacate their CUP and give NHHA 100% access to that facility. And Mr. Patel is more than willing to do that if the price is right. Or B, if we are not satisfied with some of these things that we've heard and seen, that the conditional use permit for an NHA can be brought back to the Planning Commission to address those concerns. Now, I have to make it abundantly clear that there is a process that we have to follow. I understand, the desire to extinguish things, but we have to follow a process. And the first step is me bringing this forward to you, identifying what issues they are. The second step is we bringing it back to the Planning Commission and either giving NHHA an opportunity to resolve the issues or not. And then another option would be for the Planning Commission to say, okay, we want to revoke the conditional use permit for the following reason. So, neither one of those steps is an easy step to take because they have, I would assume, they have invested some time and money, just like the guy with the car wash said. Well, we've been doing this since 2024, and we spent a lot of money on architectural drawings, et cetera, et cetera. When they came before the Planning Commission, one of the things they talked about is being able to employ people from San Bernardino to work there. The challenge that we have now is that we don't really know who to believe anymore, because Mr. Patel's statement is contradictory to what we have been able to see. And NHHA needs to be giving an opportunity for them to either defend, refute, or affirm the observations that we've seen. So I don't know what the resolution is, but I think it's my obligation to bring this issue up to the commission, because I know it's been a hot button item in the community, and I'll give you some time to digest the reports that you have. If you have any questions, Said or Travis, am I missing anything that I haven't covered? Jerry, am I missing anything? You can go to the podium.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Good evening. My name is Jerry Arellano, and I'm the building official for the city of San Bernardino. I would probably like to add that because of the findings that we've discovered at the Ostrom's property, and being that Mr. Shanoop Patel is the legal property owner for that location and is also the legal property owner for the other Motel 6 location on West Redlands, I took the liberty in sending a building inspector out there. And we found similar violations, code violations, not so much to the extent that I found in the Ostrom's location. However, there were more serious electrical hazards found on that property. So I think that's important to add also, that this isn't, unfortunately, we're discovering that the candidate, the facility, is owned by the same owner, and it isn't the first time he's done unpermitted construction. I have to believe, in my experience, if you're a property owner of hotels, you're used to repairs and renovations, and I would believe that it should be, the person should understand that they have to get city approvals before making renovations to their structure. Thank you. Yes, sir. Vice Chair.
I have a question. It was brought back to us information about the inspection, and this is all coming together the way that we anticipated in the last few meetings when we mentioned that I don't think they've been upfront with us about what they were doing. I was out there the day after the inspection, and I have pictures of homeless articles all over the area. I have pictures of the swimming pool that's totally green. A lot of code violations out there. The gate's still not open, and the pool is terrible. So I know exactly what you're saying, and I understand what Mr. Elliott is saying. My opinion, I would like to suggest that we consider rescinding their approval and then bring the whole thing forward and get it figured out.
I would concur with that. And, you know, just kind of, we can't go back in time, but it would be nice if we could, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because if we could go back in time, the facts were there. On June 9th, they came here, and Commissioner Pratt said that Whole Person Care Clinic is currently doing business there. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, the applicant themselves highlighted the fact that they were doing recuperative care services at that location, even though when we asked, were they doing business under recuperative care, they said, no, we have 20 people that are currently there under post-hospitalization. That in itself should have been another red flag. Okay, so I'm highlighting these things because I think that going forward, it's very imperative that staff listen carefully and do a lot of research before bringing it to the commission, because it put all the commissioners in a position where they voted yes. I know I did say no. And then consequently, things came up that honestly were going to come up. If the information had been presented to us and people had gone back and really did their research, they would have known the type of business that this particular organization would bring into the city, and then the outcome. Now, the outcome, as Mr. Quell has mentioned, has been horrific. I live near there in Ward 5. It's Ward 6. It's not even my ward, but I'm close to it. I'm in Vertimont. It's impacted our community significantly. And the fact that we do have transients, we have people that are mentally out of their minds. I have gone by as well, Mr. Quell, and I've noticed, I'll give you an example. I was driving on the freeway from my peripheral. I looked over and I saw someone on the second floor of the motel. It was a woman. She was spinning around, going crazy, doing all kinds of commotion movements and so forth. So I actually pulled off the freeway, came back around to see what was the outcome of that. She was there for many, many minutes. I had to stop looking because it was such a long time. No one was there to assist her. That's scary, okay? We need to do better, for not only for our community, but also for the homeless and unhoused people that have serious mental issues, drug issues, whatever the situation may be. We have to do better for them. The fact that we know that there are multiple entities that are doing business there currently that are not under a conditional use permit, they have not taken the steps since July 8th to get that certificate of occupancy, speaks volumes. So I think, as Mr. Quell has stated, that we should bring this back. We should revoke that permit and do a revote.
One more comment I'd like to make. Another thing I witnessed up there, which I think is the worst thing of all, is that the Motel 6 is still operating as a motel. When they have events down here at the Orange Show, that night it was full of young people up there, along with all these people in the recuperation program, and they're not separating them. And people are pulling into that Gateway City Hotel thinking that they've got a residence in San Bernardino, and look at what they see. It's terrible. That in itself is the reason this thing needs to either be canceled and relooked at, because it's a terrible, terrible, terrible situation and a bad opportunity for our city to put its face forward, and this is what people see when they come into our city. First hotel they run into. So we definitely need to do something.
As well as the one on Redlands Boulevard. So both of those facilities.
So I just had a question.
Commissioner Daly, just go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Just to address some of the comments that have already been made. There is a clause in our code that if we believe that the applicant has intentionally misled staff or the commission, it would be an automatic, it would give us the opportunity to revoke the conditional use permit. So I, and the attorney and I were having a conversation about that. I'm not sure whether or not they intentionally meant to mislead the city because they knew what the consequences would be. Perhaps there are other considerations that they were dealing with at the time that, you know, that made them say things that didn't really correspond to the facts. But we went out there. We you know, our housing staff went out there, and we asked questions. And based on the questions that we asked, we got the answers. It would have been very, very simple if they had said, in fact, it's Mr. Patel had told us on that day that we met with him, oh yeah, they're already doing a recoup. He said no, they were not doing it. And that was within, how long ago was that, Jerry? We met Mr. Patel?
I'd say 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
In the last couple of weeks. It was, oh yeah, no, they're not doing any recoup care. I wouldn't let them do it because it's going to require special equipment, and I don't want them to alter the motel at this particular time because we're working on this long-term agreement to lease to buy. So what am I supposed to do with that kind of information when the property owner himself sat in my office and make that kind of judgment? But then we went out there and we discovered that no, there's actually activity going on in there, and that was confirmed on many occasions thereafter. So
I think it sounds like we would like to revoke both facilities' CUPs to move forward with that process. Casey, Commissioner Daley, do you have a comment?
Thank you. I just, for legal counsel here, we're on a unagendized item. Like, what are we allowed to do and talk about here? And do we need to agendize this conversation so that we can make a decision as to whether or not what we want to do with these CUPs, so on and so forth?
So this is under the director's report. The way I see it as, this is basically Q&A. You provided staff questions at your last meeting. They went and they did their research, and they came and they gave back answers to you. At this point, if you have additional questions that you want researched, tell staff and do the same thing.
Okay.
But if you want to have a discussion whether or not to revoke a CP, whatever, you should agendize it for your next meeting to have a full-blown discussion about it.
Sure.
Then, Madam Chair,
Yes.
my request, suggestion, recommendation would be that we agendize both of these CUPs for the next Planning Commission meeting to have a more in-depth discussion about the
Revocation?
the status of both of their CUPs.
Okay. And I would
Is that-
also, oh,
Sorry, I was just,
sure. Is that okay?
we'll get to it.
May I respond to that, Commissioner Daley? I'd like to make a comment. Based on the findings that were, the suspicions that were confirmed, currently, the building isn't suited for the operations, and they currently for one, they didn't finish the process, which would have addressed the concerns. Secondly, because they haven't obtained a certificate of occupancy, I'll have to ask them to leave the facilities until then.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before I move to Co-Chair Quill, also, I requested PD be along with those visits, and the representative from PD agreed to that. Why wasn't PD taken with this?
Madam Chair, PD actually did more than staff. PD has been there at least about 5 times.
Okay, it just wasn't
And
noted in your report.
It wasn't noted in the report, but I was on the understanding that we'll be able to have something from the PD for this meeting, but we did not.
Okay.
But I do know from speaking with the chief that they have actually been there, and they are actually helping us to enforce some of the conditions of approval, especially the ones that refer to being able to know who is registered there, either as a patient or occupant, et cetera, et cetera. Now, there's been a little pushback from that because some health services are being provided. There is a line where we cannot cross when it comes to providing HIPAA information. But outside of that, I think they're doing their due diligence in being able to identify who's there. Because this all is kind of commingled. We got on-house people, we got services, we got voucher programs, we've got rehab, drug rehab facility. We just got all these things kind of mingled together. And I think we can start shaking down each one of these individually and trying to separate them. But it's going to take the cooperation of the motel owner himself. Just for public knowledge, it's a $1 million contract.
Sure.
Yeah, from the city.
So I just want to make sure you got Commissioner Daley's request to bring this back.
Commissioner Daley, I'm sorry.
Agendize it.
I was having a sidebar with the attorney, if you don't mind repeating that.
I was just suggesting, requesting that we agendize both of these CUPs for the next Planning Commission meeting to discuss the current status of both of those CUPs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, I just want to make sure I understand because, oh, sorry, Mr. Quell. Go ahead.
That's okay, but if I may, and I may be out of line doing this, but since I was the chair that night of that meeting, I've been bothered by it ever since we voted to approve it. So I did a little research, and I looked up in Robert's Rules of Orders how you can rescind a decision. And Albert, if you wouldn't mind, if you would look at this, it looks like we could do that if we wanted to without agendizing a meeting.
You cannot, unfortunately. Robert's Rules is parliamentary rules of procedure, but you're limited by due process, which comes from the U.S. Constitution. And so if you wanted to actually revoke a CUP for any project, you have to give them a 10-day notice. Right. You have to give them an opportunity to be heard. Evidence has to be presented by staff for why it should be revoked, and they have to be given an opportunity to respond to those allegations. So it's not something that could be done without noticing them and the public of a public hearing process.
Okay, I read in here that you can, but I'll agree with you, okay? I guess I'm just in I just want to get this thing behind us so we can start fresh on the right track and not let it fester any more than it's already happening. I've already talked to my city council person up in that area, or he's in my ward, and they're aware of it. They're aware of what's going on up there. And I think it's just getting worse as we go by daily. So
I understand. I totally understand the concern. I think that the logical next step would be if you agendize it for your next meeting, for staff to invite the owner to come and answer questions. That won't be the revocation hearing, but you need to hear if there's enough there to then decide whether to agendize a revocation hearing and hear from the owner directly. Bring NHHA to answer questions. And for staff to do even some more work to then give you an analysis, and of course I'll work with them on what we believe could be grounds for you to consider to agendize revocation hearing, and what are we hanging our hat on? Because a revocation hearing, that's going to be like a nuclear option. You can expect an appeal, you can expect litigation, and so before you take that large step, you got to make sure you're on sound footing and that we have evidence, and there's things that we can prove, not just things that we've heard. So staff needs to provide evidence. We need to get the applicant here. We need to get the owner here so you can hear from them directly. We can get them on the record to answer some of your questions. That's what I think should be the next step in this process.
Okay, thank you for allowing me to
Of course.
share my concern.
Absolutely. I get it. Thank you.
Commissioner Kalanda.
Yes, thank you. Just to be clear, just to kind of go back to what you were mentioning in regards to the violations, and you're saying that it's going to be immediately, have to vacate immediately? Can you clarify that a little bit more, please?
Well, because for one, it's a business that doesn't have a valid certificate of occupancy to use the space.
And we're talking about Ostrom's?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Frankly, it's both. I believe the
And-
Redlands location also does not have
Correct.
a current, a valid certificate of occupancy. Secondly, they're using it for something that it isn't approved for.
Correct.
So there could also be hazards or dangers that we don't know that may exist in the use that the unauthorized use. So, you know, it would be my duty to ask them to vacate because.
When will they vacate?
Well, we've already sent out notices of violation to both locations, to the property owner and the two separate recuperative care facility agencies. Now that they know that we're waiting, that was sent out just this past Friday. We would follow up on that and ask them, you know, a follow-up that they received it. And we would give them a deadline that unless you give us your intent and show us some kind of good faith effort that you plan on keeping, trying to stay the course, we would give them a time frame. I'm not sure of the time frame. It would be based on the code enforcement standard procedures, but we would give them a minimum time frame. And I would have to say, I would probably work with code on this because it's a life safety matter. I probably wouldn't give them more than 2 to 3 weeks to give us, well, I'd say 1 to 2 weeks to give us clear answers on where they want to go. And if we don't get that, I'll have to start asking them to vacate the facilities immediately afterwards.
Okay, and then the next step after that would be for them to have their license, their conditional use permit revoked, or is that going to happen at the same time?
I believe it can happen at the same time,
Okay.
Commissioner Galante. Yes. Oh, yes.
I was just going to say, I think we're getting into kind of substantive discussion now. And so I would recommend that you leave that discussion because you're going to get a lot more opportunity for Q&A
Yeah.
on all the kind of nitty-gritty things, that you wait until the next meeting when it's agendized.
Fair enough.
One thing I would like to inform the commission on is the concerns that Commissioner Quill had brought up a few minutes ago regarding the pool and the gate. The pool has long since been restored. It is now clean, it's crystal clear. Code enforcement and I visited the address last week, so it's clear. And we also received an answer about the gate. It's closed, and from what we hear, the fire department has been made aware, and they've been provided access in a lockbox. So if in the event there's an emergency and engines have to get into that property from that location, the fire department has a key to unlock and open the gate.
Thank you. We'll look forward to it on the agenda, the next month's agenda.
So, Madam Chair, members of the Planning Commission, the plan is to would agendize this item
Yes.
for the next Planning Commission
Yes.
meeting. We are not going to entitle it as a revocation hearing. It's just we'll figure out
We're
what to
just
call it.
discussing it, right.
Yes, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay.
But due process we have to follow, or else we're going
Yes.
to get slammed, seriously.
Correct. Is there anything else in the director's report?
Well, the other thing is tomorrow is our State of the City address. That is why we're holding our Planning Commission meeting tonight. You have to register to attend. So if you haven't registered, I don't know if it's too late to register
I
to
believe
attend.
council office registered us.
I had to register today by 1 p.m. so
they
I don't know.
Specifically asked us. Oh, well, in an email. Oh, okay.
Right, but I would be surprised if they turned away our planning commissioners from a State of the City address, because I think you would have a designated chair seat, somewhere close to the stage there. So that's the other item I have on my report, and we've got. Travis, do you have something?
Just have two quick things. I know it's been a long night, and we want to get going. One, just a quick follow-up. There was a comment made by Commissioner Quill last month regarding some, signs and how we were addressing certain code requirements. We did follow up on that. Got a few properties that had been provided where there was some concern. I did take a look into them. I know there was the one that we showed that was an abandoned one, and I said that is something that we can follow up on. I just couldn't identify which location that was. So if we can get an address, we'll happily follow up with code enforcement, but that should be addressed. The other sites, with the exception of one of the sites that was being looked at was the Arco up off of the 215 and Palm, just kind of on the north side of Palm there. That's where they're replacing that pylon sign. The approved plans do show it as the full wrap. It's the exact same design as was there previously. So that should still be in process to be completed. The other sites, it's a little interesting. All of them, and the one that's jumping out at me specifically was where the Albert Tacos is there now off of Del Rosa and the 210. Those were all sites where existing signage was just being refaced. And though all those signs existed prior to our current sign code that we adopted just 5 years ago that did prohibit pole signs, but as a reface, it was something that we can't enforce all the new standards. They're really exempt from a sign permit because a reface is just a change of copy. We can't regulate copy per the First Amendment. Mm-hmm.
Those signs have been abandoned for probably 20 years.
They had been, and
Yeah.
I did look at that as well. It's a little bit of a tricky situation. So yes, they're.
Yeah.
I can't speak to everything that
That's
happened,
part of
unfortunately, not from
enforcement, too.
looking at them. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But it is something, the way that they were noted in the system, just, what I can speak to just this evening is that they were refaces, so that's why, they weren't looked at as those specific issues. But everything else that we are processing, I do, hopefully, it is comfort that we are looking at that. That is a standard that we do enforce. It is not the intent to be permitting anything that is not, fully wrapped as a new structure. The other one, just very quick. As we mentioned, obviously tonight was a special meeting. I had mentioned before next month, special meeting as well, because we're not going to be here on the holiday. We have already confirmed for Monday. I believe I know we have quorum. I think we had almost a unanimous response that the day works. We are still looking at the exact venue for that. This room was actually supposed to be occupied by a different committee this evening. Had some last minute adjustments we had to make to get this all to work. We want to avoid that next month, so we're still looking at a couple other options, but our intent is to stick to that day. So when we finalize that, hopefully in the next week here, we will make sure to send something out to let everybody know. But you can keep it on the calendar.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, can I make one more comment? I want to thank you so much, Mr. Elliott, and our wonderful attorney so much for really doing a lot of work on NHHA and bringing this back to us. This was a big thing for all of us, so just want to thank you and just let you know that the work that you've done has not been overlooked. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting.